Chronicler to correct Max when he says the wrong things.
I think getting something wrong about challenger players.
I know! With 5-letter L starting names. Difficult. Anyway, Nidalee going to be the first ban away from Canyon. This one has been a welcome change in the drafting strategy against them. And Kalista, Skarner are the obligatory ones on red side. And Bessa taken away from Keen as well.
Yeah, even with a new patch, you know, Skarner and Kalista were in touch, still just getting banned. They're super hard. Like, it's not even close when you look at the ban
we saw
stats.
Kalista yesterday, and it was broken.
Yeah, it's so strong. So basically, when you're on red side, you're kind of locked into those two bans no matter what. Some note, Varus has been left open, but they're going to look to prioritize that Jace.
Yep.
Unending Despair re-enabled, so tank Jace feeling even better now. Now with the GENG, they could look to prioritize the Varus himself, looking towards the Keen Sante, first and foremost though.
Yep, so Keen Sante going to be considered. Will it just be K'Sante Sejuani that we saw find some success yesterday? Although DNF didn't manage to win with it, I believe the composition is still relatively strong with such an extraordinary frontline. But Varus is up and available, rule exists, and so he is likely to play it. However, no, it's not going to be Sivir. You don't blind Sivir here, do you?
No, I don't think so. Seems pretty unlikely. Yeah, just lock the Varus in. Obviously, we've seen Smash play things like Ezreal play things like Kai'Sa. Immediate Vi comes in, so they're going to punish the immobile AD carry. And then the Victor. Victor was nerfed on this patch. I will say, in the LEC, it's been like 100% prio.
Yep.
They've just been playing it non-stop. We haven't had that same priority, and it's been nerfed a little bit. But still, a lot of team fighting power, especially if you start to get the resets on the ultimate, it can just dominate.
And you know what? It's been nerfed, but not a massive amount. Generally, it's nerfed quite late into the game as well. So I don't know whether it's really a huge thing to worry about as Chovy's going to lock in the Yone. That means that Canyon is looking for a AP support here. So Lilia likely to be banned away, Zyra likely to be banned away, and then what does he play? That's going to be the big question here. But still plenty of options, especially for a player like Canyon. Yeah,
I mean, particularly into a tank chase, and Vi can get quite bulky. If you end up with a full AD composition, you're going to struggle a bit. It does depend on the Varus, though. Yep. You know, if it's on-hit Varus, then you can do a little bit more magic damage, but everyone's been playing the poke Varus, and I don't think that's necessarily going to change. You do see them start to target Smash's champion pool. Ezreal going to come out as a ban already.
Yeah, what's the other ban if Ashe and Ezreal are already taken away as well as the Kalista? Is it just you ban Caitlyn or something like that that can match the range of the Varus?
Yeah, I think that's probably the most likely. I mean, I guess you could, in theory, ban some like MF, but we're not really big fans of the MF, so...
No.
Maybe it's the Caitlyn, I think makes sense, unless you want to look towards the support role and target some things there, and you're just kind of happy with whatever he picks.
Yeah. They do like playing Xayah as well, as Rakan is going to be banned away. Carrier, pretty good at that champion.
Yeah, I think Xayah's rough here because you're outranged by the Varus quite a bit. I mean, it's good into the Yone, but I wouldn't like it. They do ban the Rakan, though. Something Carrier had a pretty good game on it before, and obviously provides a lot of that engage, especially with the Vi. In fact, you can dash 2 here, then to the target to layer the CC, really powerful. And as you said, Zyra being banned away, I think Lilia makes sense. If you're really trying to shut down those AP options, they do take that away.
Yeah, it was sort of the guaranteed bans to come in, but obviously GENG knew this. So is it Brand, like Karthus is coming back? Anivia jungle this time? We've had her top lane, we may as well put her in the jungle, right? You start at level 6 if you jungle Anivia, right?
Yeah,
right, guy?
Yeah, not so sold on that one.
Okay.
And that's the question, do they go for it? They could just go something like Sejuani.
Ooh, oh my god, the flexibility.
Yeah, this is actually hard to sort of... It probably is support, but keeping the options open, and even though like Elise is not going to do a ton of damage, it still does provide some magic damage. Yeah. You don't want to build Merc Treads against this GENG lineup, so the cocoon value is pretty high. So I think it makes sense to come out here. And now T1 looking towards the Kai'Sa for Smash. Obviously works well with their dive focused composition, but you're going to be outranged pretty hard in lane.
I mean, it's dive focused in the Vi only. Poppy adds to that just a little bit, but I feel like Victor and Jace kind of want to stand back a little bit.
I mean, it's probably going to be tank Jace and he wants to go in, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. Oh, the Maokai! Something we weren't really thinking of. And now they're still flexing, theoretically.
Yeah, probably just going to end up in the jungle. Not a ton of magic damage, but you know, there's enough there so that when you're not building any MR, you're going to feel it.
Yep.
And I think ultimately GENG have a lot of defensive tools, have a lot of CC set up, a lot of pick potential. They are playing a tank Jace, which is a pretty obnoxious pick, but overall, I think GENG should be pretty happy with this. And T1, you're kind of forced into a situation where you kind of have to swap because you're into Varus Elise, but then, you know, it's the Cassante in a swap, which is ideal for him. So I think GENG kind of ticking all the boxes they want in this situation.
No, I would agree. I do feel like the Elise support is something that was kind of overlooked, I guess, in this draft, just a little bit. But the bans were, like, premeditated. They had to do that. Like, Zyra, Lilia were just a little bit too strong to let through. And so GENG orchestrating a red side draft very comfortably. And the interesting thing is, like, I was actually having a chat to Prince earlier on today, and we were discussing, like, which side is stronger. And he agrees that in the LCK, we have been seeing the best games on blue side as far as drafts are concerned. But in the LPL, red side has been doing very, very well. A lot of teams are actually selecting red side with side selection. And so maybe we're starting to figure out how red side is going to work. And at least in the side of the GENG camp, that's looking to be quite comfortable. However, T1, very T1 draft, and something that they could certainly pilot to success, especially with Keria on such a game-breaking champion in this Poppy. Let's jump into the Rift for game number 1 of T1 versus GENG. GENG fans, very, very loud, and I think they're going to need it a little bit here moving into game number 1. Duro, very, very cool skin on this Elise as well, might I add, as Canyon's gone for my favorite. Love the graveyard Maokai.
Yeah, real yard vibes.
Oh, yeah. That skin line was my favorite. It's like the first Hallow's End, I think, had Bewitching Nidalee in it as well.
Oh, yeah, classic.
And definitely not Blitzcrank. God, that skin was so good. Anyway, Cocoon going to connect here as Duro is going aggressive. Ruler finding a hail of arrows as well as Smash going to have to go back quite early on in this one. It's going to be a little bit of power, especially with the amount of information given to GENG.
Yeah, I mean, he'll be a little bit late. It's not going to make a huge difference, but...
Should be a swap though, right?
Yeah, it should be a swap, but it does mean you're just a little bit late getting the wave. I guess if you're stacking it up anyway and you don't miss any farm, it's not that big of a deal.
Yep.
But yeah, T1 have to swap in the situation. I think, I mean, even though it's like a level 1 fight, kind of very indicative when you're playing against 2 range champions and you have a Poppy of all champions. Like, very hard to provide counter pressure as a Poppy level 1.
Oh, popcorn chicken value here from Keria. Love to see it. And Doran is in the mid lane.
Yeah. Just leeching some XP. See this a lot of the top laners. We're not seeing that from Keen right now. I wonder if that's a factor because he knew Smash would be late. But he's already got 3 CS, and if you look, he's
he got the melee
to level 2. That's actually massive. Like, that is so rare for a top laner to be able to do that in a swap.
You can see Doran as well getting closer, but like you were saying, he had to actually leech off Faker, so that means that Faker now going to be behind on leveling just a little bit. Chovy should have that slight advantage in the lane.
It's crazy how much of a difference just a small thing is Smash having to recall and delaying being top lane can make a difference in these situations. And, you know, we've seen dives be a fair bit harder since the tower buffs, but specifically when we're talking about an Elise and a Maokai, 2 ways to reset tower aggro. Yeah. This is like the easiest dive combo in the game, honestly. So, Doran, no chance. You just need to leave. There's no turning it around.
And it's still a good gank, right? Because he can't walk up to the wave, can't get the experience as it crashes in. And Keen, you can see, just chilling out here. Doesn't matter that he's not getting these minions. Level 3 is getting closer. And in fact, 1 more minion and he'll grab it. There you go. And that is a very comfortable Cassante.
And Oda makes a decision to actually play for his jungle. So he clears his bot side. Now he's crossing up towards top. He's trying to deny as many camps from Canyon as possible. This means he wasn't there to threaten a dive. And Keen is just getting so much experience off this situation. There's nothing that Smash and Keria can do to him 2v1. And so we're going to see if this pays off. Oda is going to end up with a lead in the jungle, but Keen is going to end up with a massive lead over Doran.
It is a big gambit. As Canyon, that's a really nice buffer on the Bramble Smash, is now Keen potentially getting dove, but he's looking relatively comfortable. And oh my goodness, that's Sapling actually doing a fair bit more than I was expecting.
With Canyon being there and it being a Cassandra, there's just no chance they go for it. So
it's a level 4 Cassante too. Look, Doran's still level 2, just hit level 3.
And they can actually force him off 2v1 because of the threat of the Elise. You land the Cocoon, Varus has the burst, and you end up just being able to reset the aggro. It is also, by the way, lethal tempo, so the on-hit Varus, Ruler going to have that extra magic damage and not the poke, and now Carrier.
Oh dear. Well, Owner is going to turn up in time as Canyon a little bit out of time there with the twisted advance. Gonna have to flash actually to get out of danger. I thought that Canyon knew exactly what was going on there, but Carrier was able to get the jump on him. And Ruler and Duro just, down here in the bottom lane, denying yet another wave, taking 2 plates so far. Oh, man. And like you say, this is something that T1 have orchestrated. They knew that this was going to happen. It has now resulted in a 100, 200 gold lead, something like that. And honestly, probably not end of the world, but it's about what it means for mid to late game and whether they can deal with a Keen that could potentially run amok, unless he just straight up dies here.
He's a level and a half up. That's massive. They are looking to dive now.
Yep, Owner going to move in. Let's see what Keen can do. He's staying away from the walls, which is very important. Still, he's just dead. Carrier might be going down, but no. Owner picks up the aggro. And so first blood, a little bit of that feat of strength as they listen to everyone, and they've moved that to the first 3 kills now. If you haven't been watching yesterday or playing the game, that is how things have eventuated. And yeah, Doran has 7 CS.
Yeah. This CS, obviously not ideal, but if you look at top, Keen is 2 levels up now on Doran, which is the most significant thing. I mean, at the end of the day, gold is nice, but it's not going to make that much of a difference if you're like a top lane that's been swapped on, but being this behind in levels, you know, if Keen hits level 6 and ends up in a 1v1 against Doran, it's going to be really rough. Then we see the dive again. Carrier played this really well, was really patient. Dashes and then moves out of tower range. The fact he doesn't need to use his flash even shows how well executed the dive was.
Kind of nuts that he managed to drop turret aggro at exactly the right time there as well. Really impressive stuff.
Yeah, really well played. I mean, look at this level difference. It's such a rough situation to be in. And the thing is, K'Sante is so tanky naturally, but Doran, you know, the tank Jace, you kind of build tanky, and you need to proc grasp to get those extra stats. So he is going to be pretty vulnerable for a while. And as a result, you know, grubs are coming up. I don't think T1 are in any position to be able to contest these.
This swap back is actually so beneficial for GENG because they have then the very clear extra power. You can even see it.
Look at the health bar difference.
Squares. Yeah, exactly. It's so silly. And so, yep, contesting these grubs going to be a very, very difficult prospect, and in fact, not something that T1 are going to opt into at all. And GENG now have just that natural control of the bottom side because they have that strong laning matchup that we learnt about. Still, Carrier is a whole lot stronger than he would have otherwise been starting this lane off at level 1. And so let's see how T1 are going to be able to navigate it as they look to head down. It is going to be the lethal tempo on the Varus as well.
Yep.
Most of the time we do see lethality. I love watching Ruler play lethal tempo on his Varus.
Yep.
So looking forward to seeing what he's going to be able to do in the mid to late game.
I think it makes a lot of sense. A lot of ability to cut through some of these bulkier targets. You know, Owner, Doran, and Carrier will end up quite bulky. And to be honest, even Faker will be quite squishy. And I think the range issue is like some games it's hard to play the on-hit Varus because, you know, you're outranged or you don't have a window really to auto-attack. But, you know, everyone on the enemy team...
Chains of Corruption gets the cleanse. And that is a really nice cocoon. Carrier taking a lot of damage. Lit on fire now as Duro's chasing after him. The burn, the repel is so good. As Cease and Desist comes down, Duro gonna have to flash over the wall and he will get himself out. Killer Instinct comes down and Canyon was lying in wait. He has to flash out, but Smash should be able to keep himself okay. But Owner is now in trouble. He's flashing over some walls. Everyone nailing the flashes over walls, which is very, very nice. But still, that is a lot of F buttons on cooldown, or Ds, depending on who you are.
Yeah, some big flashes there, closing the distance over those rocks, but ultimately T1 able to answer back 1-for-1 in the skirmish. See Duro trying an angle here, and it's just, you know, even though we're past that rough level 1, GENG have the XP advantage, and not only that, they just are so strong in the 2v2. The burst damage available on the carry, he needs to get deleted off the bat.
That was actually so sick from Duro, being able to not only repel the Vault Breaker, but also land on top of Carrier, close the gap, land that Q.
And ultimately, only being there first and peeling Ruler away from Smash there does mean that it's 1-for-1.
Yep.
But easily could have seen that go more heavily in favor of GENG. The power advantage they have right now in that 2v2 bot is just pretty massive. And they're already picking up the Hextech Alternator, which is a pretty massive spike for the Elise, just that extra damage on a champion who already has so much burst.
Still, pretty impressive how this game's gone so far. Incredibly close. And as we move further in, right, we've got 3 grubs over on GENG. T1 probably wanting to equalize that, but it's not really a side laning game. Outside of, I guess, Chovy, whose Yone probably wants to be in a side lane, is, oh, Duro gonna get caught out there. You miss the cocoon, you get punished so hard. And Carrier demonstrates exactly that. Still.
You get slammed into a wall.
Yeah.
Not the most enjoyable situation.
Heroically as well.
Yeah.
Adds insult to injury, I think. And Ruler stepping forward, and I think he can be pretty comfortable and confident with how this game has started for the Varus. Blade of the Ruin King should be coming in relatively soon, I'm pretty sure. Depends on whether he wants to change up the build, but that is often what we do see first for the on-hit Varus.
Yeah, I will say one thing is that Doran is stabilized pretty well in this top matchup. And in fairness, you know, playing Jason Xante, it's pretty hard for the Xante to have that much pressure. Like, he definitely does have pressure in the matchup, but it's not like he's solo killing him. There's see Keen use his ult earlier and get him low, but yeah, Doran able to navigate. I think ended up beating his flash there.
Yeah.
So that's down for now.
Plate Gold going over to Ruler as well as they take a third from the bottom side of the map.
Yeah, I mean, Gold's even, right? In terms of feats of strength, T1's actually slightly ahead, but it just feels like GENG have had the pressure all since that swap. And now T1 looking for an angle bot lane, but it's a reset timer for GENG, and they're heading straight towards those grubs on the top side.
Yeah, 6 grub win condition looking to be the case.
It'd be massive.
See whether they'll be able to utilize it. I think that Grubs and Feats of Strength have been hit or miss when it comes to being able to use them to win the game, right? I think Grubs has a little bit more of a clear win condition, right? You can just try and set up side lanes properly and utilize them well that way to gain extra tempo with the extra damage. As Owner is going to get caught by another Cocoon. Duro's kind of all over the place as he actually buys some health there, eating the Ignite with his passive shield. Kind of cute. But GENG still will be able to have full control over this Grub Pit. That should be 6 going their way. And those Void Mites going to prove difficult, especially with Chovy and Keen able to sit in side lanes. And the fact that Ruler can farm from a decent amount of range. Like, you aren't the Lethality Varus, which does farm a little bit more quickly, but at least from range, or safely, I guess I should say. But still, I think that this composition 1-3-1s pretty comfortably if they would like to take that out.
Yeah, for sure. The fact you have the Yone who can be going the side lane, but also when K'Sante gets 6 grubs, he actually gets a significant amount of tower damage and is so hard to like force out of the side lane, especially when there's an advantage over Doran. I think GENG were just ahead in the play, T1 a bit behind. Like T1 committed Owner down towards the bot side, not realizing that GENG had already swapped towards the top for the grubs. They were a bit behind then, so GENG had vision control, they got the damage on the Owner, and that's just enough for them to secure those 6 grubs. Now, Dragon up in about 30 seconds, and T1 do have the advantage here. You can see, look at the map.
Oh, Chovy not going to quite find the knock up there with the 3rd Q. Still unbinding the soul as Faker could have actually taken the fight if he was able to get it worked out just right. But you saw dodged a whole bunch of what Chovy was trying to do.
He's dodging everything. Faker really clean with this. And, you know, he has pressure bot. We look at towards the river, there's vision control completely in favor of T1.
Oh, Vault Breaker doesn't connect, but there's a cease and desist onto Duro, but he goes up into the sky. There's the Keeper's Vertigo. That gets rid of Ruler, and that means that a sitting Spider there will be taken down by Smash. 3-1 now in kills. That is going to be that feat of strength locked down for T1. Only one more of those to go, and they will be able to claim it. Sandals should be pretty close, given the fact that GENG just needs one more objective to lock down theirs, and that bottom lane outer turret is so close to dead.
Man, I feel like Duro was trying to actually get into, also get hit by the Poppy ult there.
Yeah.
He came down trying to get away. He was like, that's his exit plan, but was a little bit late on it, unfortunately. And there's not much you could do. At least typically not a target you want to prioritize going for on a Vi because of the repel, but with no flash, able to just pick up the kill and take him out. But we see that T1 actually end up backing off. They don't have the pressure here, and GENG able to set up for this Dragon. Duro comes back on the map, and
yeah, that would be evened out feats of strength. So there that goes. Mountain Drake goes down. Next one going to be Hextech. Oh my goodness. Okay.
The big one. Pressure's on. They're bringing out the big dragons for this series.
Actually kind of works in T1's favor as far as being able to get around the map very comfortably as well. If you're trying... Oh, ultimate goes wide there as Chovy might need to rebind that soul, and that ulti doesn't get him very much value at all. Canyon moving down, but opts out of going for anything.
You know, we haven't been super focused on the mid lane matchup, other than, you know, when we saw Faker lose a bit of XP for Doran early, but what we've seen in the past couple of minutes, Faker's just been dodging everything.
Yeah, man.
But clean. He's on point right now on the Victor.
It's like he's played Victor a few times before in his career.
He has he? Oh.
Yeah.
Wow, that's good to know.
I think Victor is in his top 3, so that means that it's on like, I don't know, like 80 games or something. I need to actually double check that. It might be even like way higher. as I'll just go have a look. Orcs, can you entertain everyone for a moment? Maybe go through this replay.
Sure, so Duro does get the repel off, and he's just like, if he came down a little bit faster, would have got hit by Carrier's ult, but I mean, it's hard to time. I think that was his game plan, presumably. To take the free little getaway exit plan for the Poppy. Unfortunately, doesn't able to do it. It's good setup from T1. I think Ono was definitely trying to get the Fiona directly, looking for him again.
Yeah.
Won't commit more. At least in terms of play gold, big advantage to GENG.
So Victor is in his top 10, not necessarily in his top 5, as that is Azir, Corki, Orianna, Ryze, and Ahri. But Victor is like 9, and he's played 48 games so far. The absurd thing is that Faker has played 100 more games of Azir than his second most played champion.
That's crazy.
It's pretty silly. He's played 182 games competitively. From the stats that I've found here is Duro is dead. In the sky, actually, as now Faker could be suffering the same fate. Chovy moves over, lands that Q as a Chaos Storm. I don't think going to be enough to deter them. Great flash, as the flash is invested there from Chovy as well. Rebinds the soul, gets out just fine. 1-for-1 trade at the end of the day, and everything stays so even.
Yeah.
Oh, Owner actually looking for an opportunity here, but decides against it. Doesn't have cease and desist, remember, used that on Duro just earlier.
He's actually, I think, got Chovy there, but he got Unbound Soul.
This is really intense.
Yeah, this is a lot of back and forth I feel like we've had in this game so far. You know, in terms of what they've achieved in macro, I think GENG have had the edge, but T1 are getting the kills. We'll do see this play onto Duro here.
Oh, just walks the wrong way.
Bam, yeah. Bursted so quickly. You're so squishy as this Elise. Like, yes, you have tools to mitigate, but really able to get blown up quickly. And then here, you know, they saw the play before on a Faker. They have the TP coming in with a Maokai holding Faker still. You know, very hard for Chovy to miss, especially here. Faker's trying to dodge and just forced in uncomfortable position. Here, Ona commits the ult, but unfortunately, Yone can just do that.
Yep, Chovy actually making sure that he lands the Q by flashing on top of Faker after that flash did come through. So a trade of flashes evenly as now Chovy gets that control ward down.
It's a high value ward.
Oh, absolutely.
Sure.
We'll be able to spot Carrier out.
And we're seeing some big spikes come in, you know, double Blazer and King for GENG.
Speaking of doubles, Faker doubling the second highest damage in the game so far. Of course, Victor does get a lot of incidental damage down, but still impressive how much he's been able to eke out of the champion.
I think it's crazy, one of these things where you see that much damage and you think, man, he must be stomping lane, but Yone just has so much sustain with like orange shield, second wind, fleet footwork. Oh. It's like an even lane.
So the Sky's on cooldown, but does get the hammer smack back onto Keen.
Yeah, honestly, gotta give credit to Doran, considering how rough the start of the game was in terms of the advantages Keen got. We haven't really seen anything come from. Yes, there's still a bit of advantage in favor of Keen, but Doran has done a good job of stabilizing that matchup.
Yep, and like this is the difference between and the obvious comparison is Doran versus Zeus, but the difference between the two of them is that Doran just plays economy so well, right? He just doesn't have the resources, he just takes the abuse and finds a way to make it the least detrimental possible.
He's just a chill guy.
He is a chill guy, 100%. All right, and right now he's chilling, losing this feat of strength towards the bottom side. There is nothing he can really do about that, especially with 0 mana, as Chovy will get a knock-up onto Ona. The ulti going to be missing here as, oh dear! Don't know about that one. They do secure the Rift Herald, but that is a dead Elise once again. Flash forward, Chains of Corruption down, as, oh dear, Smash gonna have to use the ulti and the flash to get himself out of there. Keeper's Verdict, gonna be channeled, but Carrier not going to use it, and Smash gets out. Means that they win the kill trade, but once again lose out on the objective.
Yeah, I mean, Doran's just been having a bit of a rough one in this one, but we're seeing the barrel cosplay, trying to go for those high deaths. Chovy not had the best performance, honestly, missing a fair few off those kills. Not the typical thing we see. Hits one there, though.
Yep, gonna be able to land that Q as Keen's moving up. Carrier trying to defend his mid laner. Faker down extraordinarily low. Alcove gaming to come in as the flash goes forward from Keen, goes all out, and Faker is surviving. Phenomenal knockback there from Carrier, and Keen goes down. The unkillable Demon King himself.
He's been clean with it. Keen making a mistake there on the Keen Sante, not with trying to Chovy's looking though. I think he has the kill.
There's a great knock-up, able to secure it with the Unbound Soul return damage.
No, maybe
So
that's it.
It's a game of just 1-for-1s all over the place. I mean, it's probably not saying it at the top of your screen right there, as the 6-3 is putting it in favor of T1, but it feels like these trades are so even.
Yeah, and they're going to see Dragon on the bot side coming out. We see Chovy doing a fair bit to Doran, but you know, with the context of that last play, maybe it's not Chovy missing, it's just Faker dodging.
Yeah.
He's also having those struggles. We do see a miss from Chovy here, though. Doesn't get the ult out, just whiffs a little bit.
It's always Faker. Faker just knows where Chovy's going to go before Chovy does.
He's downloaded him. They look for Smash here, doesn't have cleanse, and they're so close to getting the kill. Wheeler tries to burst him with the piercing arrow, but here...
천천히 가죠. 윤혜 노공이.
Faker called
미리
the
타야겠다.
cover.
나 별로 안 좋아.
Yeah, he says, I don't like it, not good, not good.
이거 나 피했어 일단.
I dodged.
탈만하다 이거. 살았다.
I think I live.
It literally said, call an ambulance.
Yeah.
But not
내가
for me.
바꾼 거지.
Yeah, that's what he said. Direct translation there from Ox. I have confirmation from G-Sun that is 100% untrue, but it would be more fun if it was true.
That's the vibe he was giving off, okay?
Oh, yeah.
와우.
Yeah. Canyon,
너무
pretty
큰데, 이거.
impressed by Chovy there as well. And Canyon said, yep, this is huge. Especially with the fact that they are able to grab themselves the first Hextech Dragon. 4 minutes until the next one's up. Arakan going to be available there as well. I believe looking a bit voracious here today.
Wow, what a shocker.
Yeah, I know, but like they buffed it so that the Ruinous is going to be more likely in pro play, Orcs.
Yeah, we'll see how that takes effect, if it ever takes effect. But you see, so obviously T1's picked up 6 kills. 4 of them have gone to Smash, and that's kind of typical with a Kai'Sa, just able to pick up kills in these situations, but it's resulted in him being ahead of the curve, and considering, you know, we talked about how they have to swap, the bot lane 2v2 was weaker, we've seen Duro punish now, we've seen Smash mainly be the beneficiary, but as a result, this Kai'Sa's looking really strong.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is, we were talking, and I completely agree with you, that Chovy hasn't necessarily looked as good on this Yone. He is 1.6k ahead.
Chovy is Chovying.
He is Chovying a lot. Like, it just shows the height of expectation that we have for this guy
Truly.
in every single game. It's like, oh, he didn't play everything optimally.
Oh, he missed a Q3.
So disappointing. Wow. Chovy's really struggling now these days, you know?
Yeah, it's been rough.
Yeah.
We do see Arakan on the bot side, 2 minutes 45 on the next Dragon. I think it's helpful when you're wanting to play around the Dragon and Arakan's on the same side, but it does get a bit messy when Baron is up. Although, I will say, we've seen, I guess, the nerf to the buff, where it now gives 200 gold per death.
Yep.
Kind of saw a little bit yesterday where teams are definitely being less aggressive.
Is it a nerf or is it a buff? Because they doubled the money.
It's a buff to the other team, so I think it's a nerf to the
the
buff you get has been nerfed.
The objective buff has been nerfed, but the amount of gold has been buffed for the opposition. So I think Arakan's been buffed. I just prefer to say buffed.
You know? Like buff stuff.
Yeah, I like it. I like number go big. I'm a cookie clicker player.
Understandable.
Number go up is like the greatest. As Chovy gonna look for an opportunity here. Carrier taking a lot of damage. Has to flash.
So much damage there. I mean, this is what always sort of happens when you have like a squishy support, but you look at Carrier and he doesn't have Celestial opposition, so it doesn't have that initial damage reduction, but also got the Mikhails, which has a lot of value, but this is a squishy Poppy, and Chovy is 6 levels up. Oh,
well, there's the knock up onto Doran. He can rebind that soul, but I don't know whether he can do it in time. He just explodes. And now, teleport coming in from GENG, but they're 4 versus 5. Keen going to come down. Arakan still just hanging out in this tri-brush, getting aggressive. Control ward going to stop that ward from doing anything at all. As T1, they're going to try their hand at it.
Yeah, they need 30 seconds for Chovy up, and then he has TP, so the longer they stall, the better.
Yep, Grasping Root's going to be invested here as Keeper's Verdict coming down as well. Gets rid of Keen, and now Canyon going to have to try and push them away. He's relatively tanky, but maybe not tanky enough as Ruler standing his ground. The Chaos Storm is so much damage, and Smash dives in! Canyon trying to survive, but it's 2 kills for the Kai'Sa already, and the heroic charge into the turret. Keen goes down, triple kill for this Kai'Sa. And Smash, yeah, I mean, he was down in CS. That doesn't matter even a little bit. 1.6k ahead, 7-0-1.
There's the payoff. You saw the play starting to turn in favor of T1, but when Smash flew in, he just decimated GENG. Now, Chovy's hovering, but I don't think there's much you can do here. He's trying something.
Yeah.
Well, he's going to back away. I
Looking
think
at
GENG making a mistake there. Obviously, Chovy overestimates his ability to tank that damage. Ends up getting bursted out. But I think what happened after was honestly the bigger mistake. Oh, he's looking for Smash.
Yeah, well, Smash
Is Smash.
is Smash. He's actually going to be fine. Oh my god, okay. Well, he's going to be sent home. 200 gold going over to Chovy with the buffed Otacon.
Yeah.
And now he's still walking after them.
He is back on the map though, so I think T1, if they get the dragon here, they can be happy.
Yeah.
Obviously, a little bit more. So Chovy gets CC lock. The layering's really good. Well played from Owen here to give him no chance, and Faker's there to burst. But this follow-up play, so the goal for GENG should be get them off Otacon, right? Canyon presses R, you've done it. They've backed away. You don't need to do more here, but they overcommit. It's a great ult from Carrier out the fog of war, and at that point, it's already too late. And now, GENG are hovering around Dragon, but T1 have the buff. This is dangerous.
Yeah, exactly. Doran over here to the side, Carrier close to him as well, and Doran just dives in the engaged Jace. There's a Chaos Storm wreaking havoc, and Ruler is dead already. 2 of them sent home, but no one dead just yet. Chovy gonna be executed by this gigantic Kaiser. King Dante, not enough against Smash, and Dura gonna have to flash to get out of the way. Ona chasing after him. As Faker, will he be able to land it? There it is, just a Q. Of course he can land that. That one's targeted. And Canyon running for the hills. Doran just going to make sure that he cannot contest this dragon, and maybe he'll just kill him as well. The last man standing on the side of GENG, and that could be a clean ace if they killed him. They don't even need to, though.
I mean, Smash has just been so good in the cleanup, but also Doran just charging at Ruler, deciding, I'm just going to jump on you. There's nothing you can do. And the truth
He's
is,
0-0-10.
there's nothing to do. Yeah, he's
from like the worst start we've ever seen.
He's doing so well. He's getting so much value on this Jace pick. Remember, it was the first pick, and it is paying off for sure. T1 don't actually finish the dragon. They're like, hey, we're just going to head straight to Baron. We'll take that. Canyon has no flash. Is there with the smite.
All right, Canyon.
Is not there with the smite anymore.
Not there with the smite. The smite is no longer an available thing. 2,000 health, T1 just being slow with it, as that piercing arrow not like the others. And so that's Ona locking down the Baron. So Baron, they deny the, they don't actually deny Soul Point, but that doesn't really matter. They got the Baron buff now, and they might even be able to push just straight up these lanes and take them down, especially with their engage potential off the back of Smash being so strong.
This is just a great way to play the team fight, with or without the Otacon buff, but Doran just knows his job. Just kill Ruler, and he doesn't do all the damage, but it results in him going down. And then Smash here.
Yeah. Smash going out, kill unit.
And then also outplaying the King Sante here as well. Great flash at the end.
Oh, man.
So clean, honestly. This is the guy you want to be 9-0.
Absolutely. And he said afterwards that they got it and we won. I don't know whether that means they won the game, but he might be onto something, to be honest.
Ice cold. 15-3 now. And again, like, T1 was getting the kills, don't get me wrong, but GENG, it felt like they had the edge in what they were getting on the map, and the game's just been blown open. 6,000 gold lead, Baron and Pocket still. T1 trying to apply that pressure.
Close to 3,000 gold, the lead here for just Smash alone.
Yeah. And really, we haven't seen that value in the team fight. You know, we went the on-hit Varus so we can get a bit more DPS, but it feels like when you're in range to hit like the Vi or the Jace, they're in range to hit you, and that goes a lot better for them.
Well, Chovy could be in trouble here as he does dash back, avoids the Vault Breaker very nicely, gets a knock up onto Ona, but they're just going to continue the siege, and they may as well. Brambles coming on in, and it is going to lock down Ona. He gets McHale's there immediately as the ulti's going to catch out Carrier, so he's likely to go down. But Canyon finds himself pretty lonely at the front of this fight. Keen going to try and tank for him as Twisted Advance does bring the Jace forward, but he's not a target that you really want to be fighting. They need to try and kill Smash, who dives into the backline and looks for Ruler. He goes golden. Duro is so close to being okay, but Chovy's out of there. Cannot fight anymore. A 3 for 3. Honestly good for GENG, but they're not going to be able to keep their base alive.
They just can't take down Smash. Faker gets a mega Arcane Storm as well. 5-1-9 now the victor, and Chovy with no ult. Duro as well, who's super weak at the moment. There's no way they can do more. T1 get what they want and still maintain this massive gold lead. We'll see the replay of the fight, so you know, I think Chovy's doing a great job of setting up plays and then disengaging when he can. Gets the ult that Ona flashes, disengage before he gets CC'd, but then T1 are still so strong, Canyon can't really get out, and eventually the decision is made, Canyon, you're dead, just sacrifice yourself. But we see here in the ensuing fight, Chovy commits heavily on Ona, and Smash just flies in. Takes out Ruler, uses his Zhonya's, able to buy time. And then even though Keen gets a bit of value, he's just not doing enough, and Smash is shredding him way too quickly.
And Faker is doing so incredibly well at splitting up the fight for GENG. They're always fighting on multiple fronts because he's using his ultimate to not only do massive amounts of damage, but also zone them all the way around the perimeter of it. And so Chovy wasn't able to meet up with Keen, and they could both focus a target. That just wasn't happening in these fights. He now has an Infinity Edge, so at least Chovy's going to be doing a bit more damage, but it just feels like the ship's kind of sailed as far as GENG and being able to take hold of this game once again.
I feel like Yone is one of those champions where when you don't have enough damage to shred through him, he kind of feels untouchable. He's hard to CC, does so much sustained damage. He builds items like the shield bow to have that durability, but when you're kind of at this much of a deficit and Smash is so strong, you just get annihilated. You know, you go in and you can't stick in the fight as long as you want to. You have to unbind really quickly at any threat of CC because there's so much damage in return. You have Doran, who's just so tanky right now. It's so hard to cut through him. The fact that Smash has the Zhonya's as well and Faker as a Seeker's Arm Guard, it just feels like the outs for GENG are getting smaller and smaller in this game. And I mean, the only sort of silver lining is that T1 are quite a while away still from a Hextech Soul, so they'll have to concern themselves with that anytime soon, but I don't think the game's getting any easier.
Oh, absolutely not, especially with Baron up in a minute 50. Of course, Drake going to be up a little bit sooner than that, but I believe Baron is what T1 are going to be looking for because that could just help them straight up win the game. Good news for GENG is that the inhibitor that they lost was mid lane, the easiest kind of to defend, as you've got Ruler now standing in mid. He would have been standing there anyway, more likely than not. And so GENG are at least allowed back onto the map at least a little bit. Just don't know whether allowed onto the map is that much of a good thing because every time they go for a fight, they lose.
It's been pretty rough. The recent fights really been a struggle, and I feel like picks obviously would be great, but it's kind of hard to get picks with their composition without fully committing to the fight. Like a lot of their ults, like the Varus ult or the Maokai ult, you want in the fight itself.
Oh, Keen going to be able to at least get rid of a fair bit of that CC.
And I mean, this is one of the powers of Poppy as well, is that you can just wind up the ult and just drop it. And now Keria is going to have it again in like a few seconds. Just the pressure of threatening that on a Keen, tower taken, more gold. Ruler still clearing the wave in mid. Feeling kind of insurmountable. And the question is, like, if you want to engage from GENG, you know, Maokai ult can be blocked. Both the carries and enemy team have stasis. Very hard to find an angle now. Ono will be forced away from this red buff, but it's a small consolation prize.
Yep, at least red buff will be able to go over to the team for the next potential fight. That does in fact come in. Dragon now spawning as the gravity well goes down. And the Canyon will be able to just wander out of it. No worries there at all. Let's see whether there is going to be a fight for this Dragon or whether GENG will cut their losses and just fight for the Baron, which I think is the more immediate threat right now. Ruler
the way it's tagged. I was thinking, is he going?
Yeah, I know. Jonah Strong really making sure that we're on our toes here as, all right, not a lot of wind up there from Keria, but just says goodbye, Keen Sante. Down goes Chovy once again. Ruler trying to do his best here as they manage to take down Doran. He flashes over, but now he's out of the fight. Keen just trying to keep himself alive. And yeah, he goes all out, locks onto Smash here as best he can, but just pops like a balloon. Good night, GENG. All of them taking a little bit of a nap here. Duro and Ruler out of there. They may as well just not be participating. And T1 looking to end this game number 1 with a bang.
See if GENG can try and clear the wave, but with a super minion, I don't think it's going to be possible. T1 still have so much threat. Keria has flash. If Ruler miss positions, you can just get wall slammed.
Yeah, he has to make sure he stands as far back as possible. Gravity well goes down. Keria just trying to grab him. There's the flash heroic charge. That was gorgeous by Keria. His Poppy clean as ever. And down goes the Nexus. But 13-0 for the young man Smash. Certainly looking still exceptionally good here in the LCK Cup.
Smash had a fantastic game and played really well, and likely going to be people's front runners for POM, and I 100% agree with that. But I think you have to give credit to all of T1 because everyone really did their role so well. Ono on the buy, catching people out like the Yone before he can buffer and get away from the CC. Doran, who had a really rough start, bounced back, was leading the charge in fights. We saw Keria on the Poppy having so many good ults. Faker dodging everything from Yone and just being that silent carry who's just doing so much damage in the backline as Smash is a focus. This felt like a 5-man unit who looked really strong. And it's rare we see T1 topple GENG in the regular season. I know it's the LCK Cup, it's not the regular season, but this is a really good sign, you know? Yeah. I think it was some great play from T1 there. And yes, Smash absolutely popped off, absolutely deserves the praise, but all 5 members deserving of some praise from that one.
Really impressive stuff. Looking at Faker, massive amounts of damage, and for me, he's probably front runner for POM because every time we saw Faker on screen, he looked fully locked in.
Yeah.
Like avoiding everything he possibly could, making sure that all of the buttons were pressed exactly the way they needed to. And that was a difficult game, as you could see there. Around about 22 minutes, the game was entirely tied up. Any play could have changed one way or the other at that point in time. So GENG versus T1, a matchup that never stops delivering, and we'll see whether it does again in game number 2 as we're going to go to a short break in the space. Going to break that one down, and we'll have game number 2. See you soon.
기다려야 돼 우리.
앨리스도 노플이야.
나 태어나면 태어.
나 놀고 있을게. 이거 바로 노플이야. 확인.
앨리스 전혀가 있어. 다 없어 얘는 스펠.
바르스만 막 하면 돼.
얘 노스펠이야.
디페 반대.
끝내자.
그냥 썰 바로 걸자.
앨리스 존야다. 나 타세.
앨리스 전혀. 나이스. 파워치경.
야 이거 봐. 이거 봐.
와.
나이스 형님들.
나이스.
다음판 잘합시다.
나이스.
나이스요.
나이스.
This draft that we're diving into right now, of course, Fearless means that none of the 5 champions on either side that we saw in game number 1 will be played. Let's see what bans we're going to get this time. I imagine, like it's always game 2 that the Azir bans start coming out. We'll see whether that's something that T1 or GENG are going to look towards. Is the Galio going to be first cab off the rank?
Yeah, I came out of draft kind of thinking, you know, T1 maybe didn't. For me, I think GENG had maybe the edge in draft, but you know, T1 now onto red side, GENG had side selection there on blue, so should hopefully for GENG help them out a little bit in this situation. We see the Skarner ban come out, and then the Ashe ban, you kind of locked into that Kalista ban on 3, you would think.
Yeah.
So T1 maybe showing the hand a little bit early there.
You almost have to ban those champions, though, with how good Ruler is on the Ashe.
This means we might see the Nidalee open, potentially for GENG.
True. They might leave a lot open. Like, who knows? Like, if you leave Nidalee open, do you then get Kalista?
Guys, you gotta remember, Corki now has a win, so we can't bully him as well.
2 wins!
2 wins.
It's a 2-13 type day. And he has himself an ace machine. Nidalee left up. Let's see whether that is going to be picked here. As we won't need to talk about the ace machine so much anymore, because he's been banned. So, thank goodness. Aurora. That's going to be the consideration, of course, especially for GENG, very much a flex pick. And that is going to be taken away. Nocturne stocks rising, I guess you could say, but I think picking away the Nidalee makes a lot of sense on the T1 side.
It's an interesting one because the Aurora is obviously very strong for GENG, but it does weaken the Nidalee pick by having presumably an AP solo laner pair as well. Still, it's not the end of the world. Definitely could still take it, but T1 immediately going to slam the Ezreal for Smash. Very confident in that pick for him. Even though it is his only loss, but if you watch the game, you know.
Yeah, didn't look like a loss for him.
He did everything he could, and more. Still wasn't quite enough for that game, but definitely proficient on this champion. Now T1 looking to very early secure this Ezreal Leona lane. It is a strong lane, and it does put pressure on GENG because you don't have that much space to respond to a full bot lane lock-in. And it looks like they want to make sure they can do that right now.
So
Xayah Rakan.
we have actually seen Aurora Xayah Rakan work quite well with the fact that you put down the circle, create the Thunderdome, then the feathers are sort of all over the place and you can kind of isolate the fight a little bit that way.
Yeah.
Xayah gives me anxiety, just in general as a champion. She just does a lot of losing.
I feel like the problem here is, you want people to come into you when you're playing Xayah. Ezreal can just sit at range and fire Mystic shots. Rakan and Leona, there's a potential to get stun locked and taken out.
There's the Azir.
And also, Aurora used to be really bad in Ezreal because you'd lock everyone in and only Ezreal could escape. Obviously, anyone can leave now, but Ezreal can avoid have to run through the wall.
Yeah.
And you have an Azir as well, so you have really these mobile, quite long-range picks, which I think GenG's comp is already struggling a bit into what T1 has.
Not to mention, I feel like GenG's composition is already kind of in a box, right? Azir, Ezreal, Leona, you can play them anywhere, right?
Yep.
And so if you put whichever top lane and jungle that you'd like into this composition, it's going to look absolutely fine. And so you can plug some of the holes as this draft starts to come together for T1. Whereas GenG, they're all about like kite back, trying to make sure that this Xayah is able to actually effectively do damage. And that makes things a little bit difficult. The Nocturne ban does come in as they did prioritize locking away their bottom lane. And let's see what the last ban is going to be here. Nidalee taken away from Owner. And as he does definitely have his license, that is an understandable ban. Oh man, this is just so T1, this draft, if this Zing gets locked in. It's absurd.
Yeah, kind of when you look through the junglers that have been banned or denied, does stand out as that one you expect them to lean towards. The question is more, where will GenG go? I mean, I guess, in theory, you could see Canyon pull out something like the Lee Sin is a possibility.
Yeah.
Wouldn't really be a fan of Viego.
Oh, no, not paper, man.
Yeah. Gonna look towards top lane first. I mean, I do like Jax in general when there's a Xin Zhao on the enemy team because he just makes his life so difficult.
Jax Sejuani could work, especially with the fact that Rakan works with it quite well. But that's a jungle Jax.
Yeah, it looks like they're going for the jungle Jax. And again, the place you're getting the most benefit from having the Jax is into the Xin Zhao. So this is going to be a really favorable jungle matchup for Canyon. And now toying with the idea of what they want to play.
Oh,
go
Silas.
Silas. I'd say ult value already pretty good in terms of the Xin Zhao ult, high value for survivability. The Empress Divide, the Solar Flare, both pretty nice just generally for team fight. Don't pick, I mean, I don't know why he's hovering. You're not picking Ornn into Silas.
Maybe you just want more choo-choo trains. Nah, it's Gragas. It's Darius, obviously. Wow, that would make things difficult for the Aurora. But instead, he's going to go back to that Sion. I feel like Sion is a very Doran champion, but it was Zeus' tank. Like, that is the tank that Zeus played. So it feels very T1, this particular draft, even if it is Smash and Doran playing and not their World Championship roster from last year. I think still feels the same way.
The big standouts to me is you want to avoid interacting with the enemy jungle as much as possible when it comes to T1. And you have a swap situation that heavily favors you with the Sion into an Aurora. Sion is going to be much more valuable. So T1 are going to swap. That is just an absolute fact. We're going to see how much value they get from that. And what GenG do in response? Do they try and match the swap? Do they try and scout them out? Because normal lanes is what GenG would absolutely desire. But we've seen teams struggle to find that. And if T1 get the swap off, I think they're in a really comfortable position.
He's not as much of a chill guy as you may have expected. it's
so many memes combined.
So many memes.
The crying face behind the mask.
He's like, I'm just a chill guy, it's okay, but GenG lost the first game. Yeah, oh my god, that's actually such a good meme.
So good, so good. Some of the, I mean, it's obviously drawn great, but also just so creative.
Yeah. Brilliant stuff. All right, so that's going to give GenG a little bit of extra power moving into this game, and they're going to need it against what T1 have put together for this one. Right now, looking at me like a bit of a 2-0, but we'll see whether GenG can find their footing here in game number 2. All right, the eruption of the T1 fans coming in as the robot Sion heads towards the top lane. But I don't know whether he's going to stay there for long. As you can see, Heading back now, going to keep his options open. Not a whole lot of vision available here for GENG as we can see in the enemy jungle.
You know, there's some connections here, right?
Oh, yeah.
Doran, teammates with Smash. Smash used to play with Reckless. Reckless now playing with the Baus, the silence specialist. Just a couple of phone calls away, you know?
That is true. There is not that many degrees of separation. It's like only 7 or 8.
Very surprising.
Yeah.
You know, considering how many...
That's a friend of a friend territory right there.
Yeah, really is. Really is.
That's a believable story, you know? It's like, I actually know the guy who knows the guy, you know?
Yeah.
Brilliant. All right, well, we'll have to see from Doran's play whether he has been studying the lost returns.
So we see a situation where Doran is helping Owner to start clearing the jungle, but it ends up being matched lanes in the bot lane with Leona Ezreal into the Zyrakan, which, I mean, that 2v2 part is fine. Not sure if T1 were trying to maybe see if GENG were going to match the swap. They could end up going for like a 4-man dive bot. I've seen this before where the Sion tanks and the Sion dies and then his passive helps with the dive.
Yeah.
Very possible. This could really hurt GENG. And it looks like that's the strategy they're going for. Maybe the friend of the friend thing.
Oh,
maybe
God.
it happened.
Yep, because Doran's still here. Teleport is immediately going to be invested by Keen. T1 still looking for it, though. It's going to be a 4 versus 3. Is the knockup going to be interrupted? Doran already tanking, but he's okay with doing that. They take first blood, and now Keen trying to get what he can done. Carrier still chasing after Keen. Duro left on his own underneath this turret. The rest of T1 holding on to the minion wave. And if Duro's picking up these minions, it still feels pretty good here for T1. As Canyon moving into the enemy jungle, trying to make the most of a bad situation.
You see, great hold of the wave.
Oh no, he's in his own jungle, never mind. Feels like the enemy jungle with what they've been doing. As alright, Ruler running on over. They do have information, as there's the flash. Just doesn't really get much done. Grand Entrance going to still knock up Carrier, who has to flash away. No turret ramp available, so he's going to be alright. So in the end, 1-for-1, first blood going over to T1, but that doesn't matter anymore. As much outside of the gold that they picked up.
You can see that ultimately it had its desired effect in terms of putting a lead between the AD carries, but GENG had a really good response. The immediate TP from Keen, they smelled something was up, they expected this, able to mitigate what the dive could have been. Yes, Ruler still goes down, yes, he does miss a fair bit of farm, but this could have been so much worse. And you see the strategy, Doran is like, right, I'm going to take aggro first, doesn't get the full charge Q because Duro said interrupt. He just doesn't care about dying. They managed to kill Ruler, and then they were trying to look for an angle with the passive, but Keen just walks out of turret, and they don't really have anything to follow him right now. Yeah. In hindsight, maybe if they'd gone for Duro, it could have been better. It's hard to say. They kind of lost the momentum there, but it was... The initial dive, obviously, was the desired effect, but GENG done a great job of responding, and now they have a lead in the top side, and Ruler is starting to catch up. Especially he was able to hold the wave a little bit there, and now we've kind of returned to the swap. Which, you know, we thought T1 would go for in the first place.
Well, we've got a teleport in from Chovy. Will make his way over. Faker still at 300 health, just looking for a little bit of a better back timing, I guess. Right now, pretty decent wave position for the Sylas. We have to remember that as far as Xayah players are concerned, Ruler is relatively good. I hear he's got a skin on the champion and stuff like that. That being said, he was playing the Xayah at a period of time where she was pretty busted. That was basically Xayah Kai'Sa every game, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Not quite in that level now as she was before, but did get some nice AD carry item change as I'm saying that.
Faker just got back to lane.
Yeah, not having a fun time. I feel like it's one of those things where when you're into the Sylas as someone like Azir, you lose the trade so badly, and then you try to make up for it afterwards.
Oh, the flash actually has to be invested. Chovy taking a turret shot, but still feeling okay in the lane. But now no flash, no teleport, and no real way to get back into this lane. So even though the CS right now is even, Chovy should be able to find himself a decent advantage. And I think Chovy also felt that he didn't have a very good game one. He is he's locking in pretty hard.
I said in game one that Faker downloaded Chovy. Chovy got a firmware update, and he's now ahead of the curve. It's an arms race. But Chovy connecting those chains 2 times in a row, really getting some good trades on a Faker and providing some pressure.
Ooh, Kane looking for an opportunity here under smash, doesn't find the combo.
I mean, he's level 5. He's about halfway to level 6, but that ult is such a huge power spike. Smash already half HP.
Yeah.
You have to be a little bit careful. I'd be You'd feel a lot safer playing into the Xayah than you are playing into the Aurora Smash right now.
Keen is feeling very safe, though. Just walking in the melee range of a Leona in a 1v2. Did, of course, have Duro relatively close by. You can see he's not too worried about how this game is going. Ruler should be a little bit worried as laning up against Doran right now, but there was a Xin Zhao lurking. As we can see, going to be distracted a little bit by this dragon as okay. Faker, no Emperor's Divide just yet. Chovy could steal his away as he did just ding.
It's crazy just that the chains don't hit, they connect with the minions there, and still Chovy's doing so much damage. Again, Faker answers back. But the problem is if you keep trading this way, where like Chovy gets a good trade, then you reduce his health to about the same, you're going to run out of health first. That's how it's going to go. As we saw before with the flash.
There's no one here. I feel like that's relatively valuable here for Keen.
Yeah, we're kind of get some adjusted lane assignments here from T1. Did end up picking up the dragon. Kind of maybe get away from the Aurora on the top side, but Keen is just really being snowballed heavily by this. This is a sacrifice when you go for that play with Doran on the bot lane. You are giving up on top a little bit. You know that Doran's going to be behind. And I think ultimately the payoff hasn't been as big as they'd hoped. CS difference between Smash and Ruler very tiny, and because Ruler got so much solo XP, he's actually up in levels compared to Smash. So definitely a backfire here for T1 in what was their intended plan.
Yeah, kind of nutty. But we remember, game number 1, the early game looked really good for GENG. And honestly, their macro decisions, where they were moving on the map, everything was good. It was how they were playing together and the micro interactions that they weren't able to navigate as well as T1. It felt like T1 were just doing buttons better
and also
than GENG.
The team fighting from T1 was ruthless, honestly, and also where the gold went. But, you know, we have Keen on a carry now. His chance to make the most of that almost 1,000 gold lead he has already in this game.
And most CS in the game as well. Only by 5 now, but it was looking pretty crazy earlier on. So this Aurora could be a problem.
It technically wasn't a swap, but when you have these weird shenanigans top lane, you're so used to the top laners just having no farm, and then Keen just kind of vibing. I mean, this is what GENG want. You know, you don't pick Aurora, so you can end up famished in a swap situation.
Yep.
And they've ended up here. We've also seen Canyon have a bit of an edge in terms of jungle CS, and again, that's another situation where T1 are a bit weak in that jungle matchup, because if you see Jax fight Xin Zhao, it's not a fight.
No, it's not very fair. Counter-Strike does relatively well for champions that can empower auto attacks.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
No kidding.
Yeah. No, I've been commentating this game for quite some time. I've learned about the Xin Zhao Jax interactions. It's taken me a few years, you know.
But you got there.
Yeah, I got there in the end. That's the main thing. As Doran just getting abused here by Keen, who's taken the grasp as well. We've seen that was, maybe that's the tech that allowed Anivia to be a top laner. Obviously, Aurora, another Freljordian champion, going to be even more suited because she was already a top laner.
Yeah, and he is just annihilating Doran right now. And especially if he ends up going the Leandra, he's just going to hurt so much. Taking more plates in the situation, Doran having to TP back top to defend. Thing is as well, GENG already have 3 grubs.
Yeah.
You're never going to be able to get grub pressure if the game continues like this.
Well, we saw last time GENG were able to get a whole bunch of grubs, and it did absolutely nothing to the outcome of the game. So, T1 fans, I would not stress just yet, especially with the fact that Faker is playing the Sandy Pigeon. And here's Azir has gotten T1 out of even rougher situations than this in the past. We'll see whether it can do that again.
Yeah, specifically against, there was this 80 carry, I don't know if you know him, he was in the LPL for a while. Wasn't the LCK at first.
Yeah, I seem to remember something about that. I do remember the same 80 carry doing it to Faker, although he wasn't playing this champion as, oh, Duro. That is not where you want to be standing. That's said Pigeon picking up a kill as well.
You know, it kind of feels like the plot of the series, from Duro's perspective, is he's just being picked on. T1 have targeted him heavily. They do so again. This is one of the things when you're playing Rakan, if the CC's layered, which was there beautifully by Carrier, you are squishy. You can't be locked down. This is why, you know, a lot of times Luna was picked into Rakan specifically.
Aww, that's a bit rude.
That's rude.
Well, at least he doesn't have Turtle Port anymore. Does upgrade that to an actual teleport, so that means that at least he'll be able to get to lane relatively fast. But instead, he elects to stick around for another wave. And Duro, wanders up on a ward, and sometimes you're just not allowed to do that.
Carrier does the ER combo, where when they're still rooted by E, you get the ult down. Just beautifully done. Leaves no time for you to sort of... Because when you E and then go for the Q, sometimes Rakan could W in time. This leaves no opportunity for that. And Duro doesn't have Merc Treads or anything yet, so...
And you still get to queue afterwards.
Still get to queue afterwards.
It's like so much
Same
easier.
duration.
All right, Empress Divides all over the place. Is now Chovy looking to try and make his way out of underneath the turret. Carrier turns up. Duro's here as well. That might give Chovy the opportunity to get in there. Faker once again has to flash. And that is going to be a successful gank there from Duro onto Chovy's lane. Nicely done. No Emperor's Divides left, as we can see in that mid lane.
Very funny moment. It kind of feels like in an anime or something when they just use the exact same move.
Yeah,
on
yeah,
each other.
exactly.
Equal impact, but good moves from Duro there to punish Faker afterwards and get that summoner spell. And now really looking for Smash.
Yep, Carrier is here. Playcaller is going to get a snare, but not too much more than that.
Yeah, rare window where you can really get uptime on the Azure. Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah, Duro able to actually get out of it this time, but could be a little bit of an opportunity as the quickness does come down. Big cooldown invested here by Duro, but keeps himself alive this time.
I think Ruler just not quite in range for him to be able to E2, and that's one of the things as well with the EQ. You can just ult when Carrier goes in and stop it. Carrier fishing a bit with that ult, but doesn't find it now.
Yep, so Chovy, actually going to get a stop onto Carrier's recall. Duro in position as well as now Keen moving over Carrier. I think he knows that he's not going to stand too much of a chance here as the ulti is going to be invested in Keen. Going to pay a visit to the Leona. It takes a little bit of time, but he gets there in the end as now Faker with no flash having to deal with Chovy. There's no ulti there as well. All he can do is try and shift some sands, but these sand soldiers are doing so much work. The chain lash not going to connect, and finally some buttons come off cooldown, and Chovy finishes off the pigeon. Solo kill for the man in the mid lane for GENG.
So lane is coming up big for GENG. Chovy kind of waiting for cooldowns there. It was a little bit awkward.
Yeah, it felt a little bit like there was maybe a chance. But
he's like, give me a second, give me a second. Gets the rotation back, able to take him out. Dragon picked up by GENG, and you know, we felt like kills were going in favor of T1 in game one, but the objectives in favor of GENG. I feel like even more so this time. And they have the kill lead as well.
Yeah.
Things are looking really positive. We did see Doran get some alone time top and get some plates, but ultimately Keen gets a roam that has a lot of value for him, and the feats of strength picked up for GENG.
Now, there's a Cloud Soul on the map as well. Trying to hold in my excitement.
You can be excited, it's okay.
It's always T1 games, man. T1 is so reliable when it comes to Cloud Souls.
And you know what? You've been vindicated because Riot on nerfing Cloud Soul, they said it's the strongest one, it's the highest win rate.
That's what I'm talking about. As, yep, Chovy just finds the Leona here. And now he says he's dead. And he gives the kill over to Keen.
미드 좀 싸운다 이거.
He's like, I'm gonna go kill mid lane. And in he goes.
이거 미드 좀 붙어줘.
Cover me please is what he's saying. Everyone's coming on over. And you can see the Kingslayer coming back off. And there it is. Lands chains, lands W. All good. Cool, calm, and collected. And an Emperor's Divide. Going to get rid of him once again as the ulti comes down from Chovy. Faker going down so low. The double guards looking real crazy there as Ona does manage to take down Chovy in the end. Canyon trying to fight this one out as the train, that was not really the station he wanted. Duro going to try and get a knock up here, and Doran is pretty heavy, but he's not going to do a whole lot of damage. And in the meantime, Keen's still top lane, and so he's going to be able to grab a feat of strength, and GENG will get all of them.
Yeah, that was the first time we saw the Jax interact with Xin Zhao, and
oh dear. I think the Smash show is now starting as Featherstorm going to come down. We'll see if this Blade Caller can actually do anything at all. And in fact, it does a whole lot. True Shot Barrage gets the flash that Ruler still had somehow. And now Smash walking into the wall. He is very, very low. Duro goes in looking for Doran, but he's very tanky. Battle Dance will get himself out. The Q just barely misses. Needs a few more ergs on that one. And Keen not going to be able to lock too much down, but no one dies in that particular part of the exchange.
Yeah, able to disengage that. We see the replay, and as I was saying, this is the first time we've seen the Jax and Xin Zhao interact. And for Ona's sake, I hope it's the last, because, you know, the initial play, he comes in, he just wants to show the chain doesn't connect, but there's just nothing he can do. Ona's like, okay, Sion's coming, I can go back in, and Canyon just presses E, and then just bonks him. And,
oh man,
not much you can do.
And it's so easy to play it into as well. You see Audacious charge, and then you're like, oh, I guess I press E now.
Yeah.
And then he can't do anything. He can't even get out.
I mean,
so
look what he's doing.
He gets done.
The thing is,
yeah, this is back to live. And okay, ulti coming on down there as Canyon is going lower and lower. The Azir certainly takes care of him. And so Canyon maybe not as immortal as we thought. It's Emperor's Divide going to connect. Faker thrown back towards Ruler is now Chovy. 1 versus 3. Great knock up there from Duro. Is the Emperor's Divide almost manages to get this one done. But oh my god, Smash able to get out the DPS and they win the fight.
Yeah, I think Canyon heard what I said.
Oh dear, that one landed. As now Ruler, does he have the blade caller? The answer's almost, as Smash manages to get the auto and keeps himself alive. I thought that was the Smash Mad movie once again, but not quite enough.
Rare Smash miss there on the Mystic shot at the end. Ruler dodging away, able to make it competitive.
Proving that he's human.
Yes.
Is what we needed to see.
We've learned that now. But yeah, Canyon, you know, you block everything Ona does. You block the stun from Carrier. I think he heard what I said and was just feeling himself a bit too much. Ona also getting the knock up at the end when he tried to leap strike out. A little bit overzealous. And this passage in play, it's not ultimately that bad for GENG, but considering the advantage they have, it's kind of just a one after the other situation. And you look at how low
oh my god,
one get.
Keen must be feeling so bothered after that because
Yeah.
they were lined up, he was out of vision.
All things considered, really, GENG shouldn't be fighting in a way where T1 can get that much of an advantage.
No.
T1 played it well, credit to them, but yeah, GENG was strong, and I think they got far too ahead of themselves in that situation.
Well, that means 6-all as far as the kills are concerned. As Keen, this is a bit of a worry. I don't know about that solo flare. That was not really the one, as Faker is going to take a trip out of this one. Duro will be able to deter the rest of T1. But now, with this Rift Herald making a visit to mid lane, that could be just double charges. I don't know what Sion's supposed to be able to do about this.
Yep, they don't have to pilot it, they can just let it go.
Yeah.
Looking for T1 here.
Four-manning the Gromp as if it was a neutral objective.
Canyon we learned from last time.
So it's 3 people that he might be okay with, and he is even going to be able to steal away the Gromp.
Yeah.
That's so sad. They invested 4 people in taking that Gromp.
Oh, but he's focused on the true objective. Securing the Dragon, Cloud Soul.
Yep.
On the way. Still a while to go yet, but he knows what he needs. I mean, to be fair, Cloud Soul, pretty insane with Rakan.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of these champions.
So, Cloud Soul as well with Silas, how does it work? Do you get like a boost when you hijack an ultimate and then when you use said hijacked ultimate? Like, where does it take effect?
I don't actually 100% know. That's
There's so many Silas interactions that I just don't understand properly.
Yeah, I know some champions you can do that, where you can proc like Cloud Soul with like the initial cast.
Yeah, multiple ways is okay. Blast Cone taken by both Chovy and Ona, as they're challenging each other, as you can see here, because Chovy has stolen away that Crescent Guard.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, there's some ults where you obviously love the offensive ults for Chovy. Like we saw Doran hovering the Ornn. Chovy would love an Ornn ult, but you know, despite it being primarily defensive ult, the Xin Zhao ult so much value.
Oh yeah.
But this champion who's already notoriously difficult to kill, and into a composition where the main damage threat on you is Smash and Faker, who don't want to be in melee range of you, the value is pretty massive.
Are you going to be going home?
I think the highlight was that
steal away the red buff.
Avoiding the red. Smash is like, don't you dare walk through there.
Good support.
Yeah.
Smash is going to move in. You've got another support that's going back as well, as he does get the information that the red was taken. High value. And does
a deep
end up
ward
going.
there as well. I mean, it's a deep ward, but also he has the rune, the deep ward. You can see it has 4.
Yeah.
So it's a deep.
It's a very
very
deep ward.
One of the deepest wards we've seen.
Yeah, I've never seen a ward deeper than that, outside of any ward that's deeper than that. But like apart from that, never seen one. All right, Chovy up here towards the top side. Ona was thinking about going for a little bit of a gank. Duro in the area, just picking up some blood roses.
Yeah, we're kind of
bloody roses.
Where he just doesn't really do damage to Doran anymore.
And Doran doesn't deal damage to Keen really, and they've both just got grasp stacks all over the place. Keen with a whole bunch
doing a little bit now. Oh, and then
look at that Soul Furnace shield.
So big.
The lane was so interactive, and now he's actually down to 50%. This is kind of getting real. And there's no turret. Does he have to turn into a train? That would be so sad if he had to turn into a train against just a bunny rabbit. There's the Q. That's going to try and buy him some space. But look at this. Continuing to walk. Oh man, took a while. He flashed and ulted to get out of that.
Okay, so we've learned if Doran is there for like 25 seconds, then yes, kill him.
Well, Duro also could just be dead, as another Mystic Shot going to go wide, but gets the heal out of Duro.
I mean, this is just how Smash played Ezreal last time, but he's so aggressive at finding windows to punish.
Oh, yeah.
And stepping up. Hasn't got rewarded, you know, when he did it on Ruler. Just get a summoner there from Duro. But just the confidence, you know, I feel like especially when you are a rookie player, you're subbing into this storied roster and they're playing against GENG. He's just playing the same, unfazed.
Yeah.
Plates off, doesn't care.
Well, let's have a look at how this Arakan fight does go. They are trying to gravitate, I guess, towards the top side of the map on T1, but now going for a reset. Looks like it's GENG that should be able to get there if they would like to. Teleport's available from both top laners and mid laners.
Oh, and which Arakan is it? Is it? Oh, it's the.
Oh, is it a Voracious one?
Oh, it's a Voracious one. Interesting.
Oh, thank goodness for the buff, because I really wanted to see more Voracious. As all right, Canyon demonstrating that whole Xin Zhao versus Jax situation that we have here in this game. Actually, not doing too bad. When it comes Lightning, doing a fair bit there. We're moving closer and closer to 2 items for Canyon on this Jax. And Ona does have his already, so in actually a pretty good position. Doran just looking a little bit silly there, channeling the blind Q. And Keen with a level advantage, feeling absolutely fantastic on this Aurora. Upgrades the shoes as well, utilizing these feats of strength, and now Duro looking for an opportunity.
Yeah, you can see GENG working really hard to push their vision deeper. You know, they like that deep ward they had earlier. They want to do more of that.
Whoa, a deeper ward than the deepest ward you've ever seen? That's crazy, as Fake is going to be slowed down, and that means that he can shift some sands to get himself out of there.
Yeah, it took some time, but they finally got control of that bush next to Raptors, and now just going to be able to push in, look for this tower, but they see Dora moving over, the 2-shot barrage comes through. T1 do a good job of mitigating this. Very much this back and forth, though, just trying to establish this vision here.
And I imagine a lot of people are like looking at this game feeling like GENG is in complete control, and they are. But I still think that this is anyone's game, and T1 demonstrated in game number 1 that it doesn't really matter how the vibe of the game is going. They can always just turn it on a dime. So GENG are going to have to stay locked in if they want to make this one happen. We'll see. Arakan was a point of issue for GENG, to say the least, in game number 1. So you can understand why they're a bit apprehensive to go for it now.
I feel like it's just a core characteristic. You know, you can switch out the top lane, you can switch out the AD carry. T1 always just has the ability to turn on at a dime.
Yep.
And
it used to be 20 minutes, and now it's 25 minutes for some reason as well.
Big nerf to T1, honestly.
Oh, no, it's a big buff to game time, game duration.
True. They do need to refine a little bit and maybe work on the random Arakan start, I think. I think they could do well with that.
I don't know whether that was a chain that Chovy really wanted to land.
Sometimes you just throw a skill shot. It's, you know,
yeah.
You're kind of hesitant because you're like, I don't know if I want this to land. Oh, Ruler, this is so aggressive.
Whoa, what's he doing here? This is crazy. Well, Keen is going to find the angle. Ruler gets out of there. Carrier stunned up momentarily as Emperor's Divide throws Ruler away. He survives for a fair while. In fact, he's still alive. Ona gets over there, finishes the job. But honestly, why? Why was he there? The counter-strike was decent. Carrier going down solo. It's Duro that's able to lock him down. But now Chovy is missing. It's only Keen left for the damage, and Smash is up and available. And so now all of them are taking so much damage from Ona. Keen has to sacrifice himself. There's nothing he could do. And why, Ruler? That wasn't even the Ruler spot. He was even deeper.
I have no answers to the question. Just completely out of position. T1 pounce immediately, and just as we were talking about the ability to turn a game in any situation, Ruler gives them a bit of a freebie. The fight still somewhat close. Credit to the rest of GENG for making it close, but I have no idea.
Okay.
There's no explanation. Every summoner burn for the start of the fight. Smash does respect flash away from the feathers. And to be fair, Ruler survives for a long time here. Kills Faker. Not quite the same as that shuffle we all know from World, but...
But that's the spot. That's actually where Ruler killed Faker, I'm pretty sure, in that 2017 final. And Faker getting some revenge.
Yeah. And you can see Keen trying to look for Smash at the end, playing very respectfully.
Duro is out of there. I was about to say dead. I'm going to be honest. I was going to say dead. It's Trisha Barrage searching for it. Thanks, Jonas Strong. Oh, Ben reaction.
Oh, the dodge comes through.
Yeah, some sick reactions there from Duro. Sick reactions, get it? It's a pretty good one. Anyway, Trophy going to be clearing out a ward. And Ruler, not the Ruler spot, okay? Let's not do it. They do have vision now set up.
Normally it's supports who die for control wards.
No,
Every support main has done it.
Normally it's Ruler.
Yeah. Wow.
I feel like he's back in the LCK and we're back to his old ways.
He wants to do it. He's there for his team. You know, he knows Duro wasn't feeling that well. He's like, I got it, buddy. I'll clear this control ward for you.
Nailed it. Well, GENG retaining their gold lead. It's not too much of a big deal, I guess. As T1, remember T1's composition, it ages kind of beautifully. You know, they've got the classic front line, lots of DPS. Like, this team should be able to team fight extraordinarily well as the game goes on.
I mean, Sion is getting just so tanky. And still, yeah, Keen, yes, can do damage with enough time with Leandries, but in fights, especially when you look at Ruler's build, he's not going LDR.
Yeah, where is the LDR?
So it is going to be a long time before you're able to cut through this Sion who's got, you know, Thornmail and an Ending Despair.
And then in the meantime, he's causing such a ruckus, keeping Smash so healthy in these fights, making it so much easier for him to play around. Not to mention Faker as well, as Chovy throws out a Solar Flare just for fun. It's probably running out of its duration.
Yeah, I'm not too sure on the Bloodthirst decision.
Yeah.
I guess concerned about the poke from the Ezreal and the Azir, obviously if he lands like a soldier on you, but it really does delay when this Zaya is going to take over, because you know, you're thinking about IE, thinking about LDR, these items are just so far away.
And you need both of them to feel really good about how this game's going, but that'll be 6 items. That'll mean that this game is absolutely gone the distance. Doran will have approximately 18 billion health. That's an approximate number. It might be more, might be less.
It could be more. I've seen some very tanky Scions in my time.
Yeah. Slightly worrying, but also I'm worried about the age of this Arakan. It's like the oldest Arakan we've ever seen.
Things are getting super dangerous because not only do we have Baron up and Arakan, we also have Soul for GENG in 50 seconds, and it is the highest win rate in solo queue Soul.
Yeah.
Is Cloud Soul, verified by Riot. They are nerfing it because it's the highest win rate, so, you know, that's to you, Cloud Soul haters.
This Arakan is going to start putting pressure on us to have children, you know, like really wanting to be a grandparent.
He's getting to that stage of life.
Yeah, it's really getting to that point. Just don't listen to him and let's just play the video game. It can be distracting sometimes, but it's okay. They just want what's best for you.
It is truly the most voracious Arakan. It's like, guys, I'm voracious. I'm here to make you have some action. I give you a buff so you can just, you know, fight.
Now sit down,
like,
let's have a cup of tea.
Please fight, please. Yeah. That's all I'm asking for. GENG get the memo, but different objective. No, they decide against it. Okay, well, truly the most voracious Arakan.
Indeed. Well, Carrier's slightly out of position, I guess you could say, as Ruler, standing his ground here in this mid lane, does have that Bloodthirster as the cleanse comes down. The train gonna get the ulti out, at least, so that button not gonna be there. Faker looking for the angle where he can, but Doran tanking up for not a lot of value, and Keen keeping them all into position. I think GENG should just take the win. Back away as Doran will need to re-up that health bar. No flash now for the next engage.
But honestly, I think this could be...
Carrier.
They need to get Doran reset. They need to TP him back. The question is, can they punish Ruler? He's now got no ult, no cleanse. If they can capitalize on that, it could be big.
Well, immediate CC onto Doran as he does come back. There's so much mobility on this GENG roster. It's hard to hold them in place here for T1. As Chovy with that Solar Flare might be able to make something happen. Q not going to land as Doran gets seen. Soulforge comes up. He is going to be all right. So GENG now over towards this Cloud Soul that they can get for themselves. And these T1 health bars are getting lower and lower. Flash in from Carrier, doesn't find any joy, and the train misses the station. The knockup is going to interrupt the queue as well. It's a bit of a disaster as Duro gets the quickness, finds the double knockup, and they will be able to take the soul point as well. Chovy finding some dash cannon value is now Keen dashing forward. Ona taken down solo as Canyon, darting in and out of the fight. They lose no one. Doran goes down, they get the soul, and the value's there for GENG.
Just feels like skill shots weren't connecting from T1. They were looking but wouldn't find it. And now everyone on GENG so mobile, so fast. With that buff, it's going to be even harder to connect. Fishing.
Yeah, he wants to find that huge Empress Divide angle. He finds it onto 2. Down goes Carrier, down goes Ona. And that should be a ticket to Baron here for GENG.
You just see when he's looking, the fact he's just running so fast, so hard to deal with him. GENG, they get what they want. They manage to find the picks on the back end. And now Baron, Arakan, they can just pick up both.
Yeah. This Baron should definitely go down, especially without Ona available. No teleport for Doran to get himself back there as well, even though he's coming back up very, very soon. And Carrier 10 seconds before he's going to be alive again. True shot barrage! That was close. Does get information as well there for Smash, so nicely done. Man, that was so exceedingly close.
Yeah, I mean, good smite from Canyon, but now, yeah, double buffs. Going to be so hard for T1 to deal with. And we see Keria looks for the stun on a Chovy, doesn't quite find it. Good dash from him. Doran doesn't connect with the ult. And then the turnaround play comes through. Doran just getting, it's slow, right? They're not shredding him, but eventually he goes down. I think Keen doing a lot of the damage there. And then this ensuing play, he just runs so fast. You can see in the bottom of the screen like 500 movement speed.
Yeah,
normally.
It's absolutely absurd.
Yeah, Cosmic Drive as well.
Yep, Emperor's Divide, and he just walked at them. He's like, yeah, they're pushed up too far. Let's kill them.
Yep, pretty strong.
Okay.
Do you see the last Whisper coming in now? 4 rulers are building towards the armor pen. But GENG, so they got Cloud Soul really fast, really hard to deal with that way. They got Baron for the pushing, and even if you try and fight them, they have Arakan. It kind of feels like a checkmate here.
I mean, they've got Exodia Plus, right? Like, of course they can't have true Exodia because Elder isn't up for another 4 minutes. But, I mean, they've got Arakan buff, they've got Cloud Soul, they have upgraded shoes, they have 6 grubs, they've got everything! As Keen is demonstrating what they're able to do with that, which is basically whatever they want. Crescent Guard, not guarding too much of anything at all, as Drew is going to take a quick trip home. Emperor's Divide throws Chovy underneath the turret as Canyon dives in. They take down Faker before he can react as Chovy splash on top of Smash. Will be able to take him down, and remember, he cannot even dive Blade Caller value. And we are going to 3 games. We're getting exactly what we wanted out of GENG versus T1 here in the LCK Cup. 1 Nexus turret remains. They've got Arakan buff, but they will not even need to really utilize it because the Nexus is just dead. And thankfully, GENG are able to buy us a 3rd game and more of this amazing League of Legends.
Much cleaner game from GENG. Felt like they didn't give over as much opportunities to T1, but some great play from Keen and the Aurora get a lot of value there. Yeah. Canyon also, the Jax jungle pick, so much power, and I think Chovy locked in on this one.
I think Chovy like heard what Chronicler was saying there on the space, so I'm hoping that when we do get to the space after the break, that Chronicler will watch what he says, because now he knows that Chovy's listening. And he definitely played so much better there in that game, finding exactly the angles that they're looking for. So hats off to him. And now T1 back onto the blue side once again. I think that with how this series has been coming together, a very good chance the T1 do just take this one home. But now we have to remind everyone, those tiebreaker scenarios that we were talking about, keep in your mind. Was it 55 or was it 35? It was a very specific 18-minute number. If T1 wins at that much, so 18 minutes and 35 seconds. If it's exactly that, then it's a tiebreaker. So that's what we have to look out for.
I think then it would be a 2-1 for T1, and it's already...
No, so if GENG wins...
Yeah, but what time was their win? Because they've already had their win.
Oh, they've had their win. So their win has to be at 18 minutes and 35, and I think it was way longer than that, so never mind. That ship has sailed. Time for us to go to a short break. I'll get my brain back together. We'll have the space, and then we'll have game number 3. We'll see you soon.
풀공작 해도 돼, 민규야. 레오나 숨은 거.
레오나 숨었어요. 이거 뒤쪽.
레오나
정면.
레오나 의미 없어. 나 이거 타워 칠 때 이번에 공 한번 쓸게, 이거.
나 약간 풀공잡에 아지르 연계돼. 나 레오나 공으로.
방은
이거 아지르 싸우부터.
컨트.
우리도 사이언.
싸워. 우리 사이언 때문다.
빠지지 마.
나 아지르 볼게.
타워 넘어.
아지르 누구?
아지르 높여.
잡아갔어.
타워 빼면서 볼게. 타워 빼면서. 타워 칠수록 타워.
타워 치면 끝났어.
아 끝났어. 애초에 끝났어.
어우 잘 싸운다 형들.
이거 미니언 좀 멀다. 미니언 멀어.
내가 아까
뭐야 미니언 어디 갔어? 미니언 멀어.
형
저 지금 가는 중.
온다 민영 왔어.
아얘 죽어 있는 거구나.
One back on the blue side, a theoretical advantage based on win rates here in the LCK, but other regions would have different things to say about which side is more powerful. And in a game 3, in a fearless scenario, things can get wacky. First ban going to be in Italy, and this is why blue side, I think, is so much stronger, because you still have to ban the must-ban champions.
Yep.
And so less flexibility.
Every game so far this series, and most games so far in the LCK Cup have just been ban Skarner, ban Kalista, or Suffer.
Yep.
So they'll take those two out of the way, and then they have one ban freed up to try and work with. They did actually ban Aurora themselves in game 1, and obviously very aware of the strength of the pick, so could look to do that again.
Well, they can't, because it's fearless.
Oh, sorry, it's Fearless, yeah.
Yeah, so thankfully they banned that one themselves.
Nice.
So
Ooh.
strategic,
Freed
absolutely.
themselves up, yeah.
Indeed. What is the highest priority champion right now, though? That is kind of the question. I'm looking at it, looking down the line, and I'm thinking, like, even Lilia's stock is, like, kind of way up, as Corki is going to be taken away. And I guess, like, honestly, kind of makes sense, even though it's 2 and 13. Those 2 wins have come in more recently, and Rumble is certainly a big priority there, as Galio going to come through as well. So there are quite a few champions that certainly are worthy of that high priority tag.
It's interesting. They
Galio,
did
big one.
ban the Galio, given that they banned it on last game on blue side.
Yeah, right.
But also, if you end up picking like the Rumble yourselves, you know, one of the first times we saw Galio recently when he started showing up was played top into Rumble.
Yep.
So they have that flexibility option if you go in that direction yourselves. And
the first pick, Lee Sin, is kind of out there. But Canyon going to do it. You can see, he's like, oh man, I'm going to have to lock in. I'm going to have to make sure that these hands are working to perfection. And last time he played this champion, it was a masterclass. It was gorgeous.
I mean, it kind of makes sense with priority on junglers, like going down the list of the ones picked. But it's interesting that Sejuani hasn't had a look in at all this series.
All right, Hui is going to be locked in here. Theoretical somewhat flex, but probably not. Chovy has been very, very good at this champion. Doesn't really feel like a Galio counter necessarily, but as far as what kind of compositions you build around Galio, they're kind of the ones that you want to be playing Hui into.
Yeah, I think what's going to be really important for T1 is getting some dive. That is not dive.
That is paper, man.
Yeah, it does have the reset potential, but I think it's going to be really important that when you're playing something like Hui, you want to get on top of him, and especially when you have a Galio and a Rumble, these champions benefit so much from people being able to set them up. If you had like a Vi here, it'd be fantastic, but it's fearless, so Vi is gone. If you had a Maokai, fantastic, fearless, Maokai is gone. So they need engage in the composition to set up these 2 picks and to get on top of that long-ranged Hui. So we'll see if they're able to pick something up now that can sort of lead to that.
Yeah, this is kind of crazy because you can see what T1 were doing. Picking the Galio.
Yes, that's good.
I think Wukong works very well.
The Wukong, fantastic. The Viego, honestly, terrible.
Yeah.
Because that would be 3 champions that need setup, but the Wukong can do that work themselves. The sad thing is, Rakan would be just unreal with his composition, but it is, again, not available because it was played last game by Duro. So we'll have those other options. And GENG are kind of committing to like long-range backline carries.
So they basically need to make sure Ona gets nowhere near them. That is the aim of the game, because unfortunately, when the monkey gets there, the gargoyle gets there as well. And so Ruler and Chovy going to be having a bad time. Feels like a lot of finesse required here for the GENG composition thus far. We'll see what they augment it with as far as support and top lane. First, though, bans have to come in. 80 carries, I think, going to be looked at here on the GENG side.
I feel like, honestly, supports, if you ban away, like, the engaged supports, you could get so much value here. Like, even removing, like, potentially Rel. Interestingly, T1 doing that themselves. I would have thought T1 maybe ban away, like, the Lulu. I guess they're thinking, you know, GENG want to play some engaged themselves and Juro efficient, but I really think T1, the more engaged you get with this composition, the easier the game's going to be.
I think GENG also don't care about engage at all.
Yeah, I think you could have just picked Lulu, and, you know, we've seen GENG play the Jinx Lulu before, so I would definitely...
I was really expecting that Caitlyn would be pretty high priority when it comes to the ban. Smash really good at the champion and does have a lot of range.
T1, it feels like they're banning the picks I would expect them to play. So potentially looking to go in a different direction. Putting a lot of faith into Ona and I guess Faker as well on the Galio to be able to set things up.
The Lulu is really standing out like a sore thumb.
Oh.
Udyr makes me feel no happiness at all.
Guys, this isn't why we wanted Fearless. Oh, it was a mistake. Undo.
Oh dear. Well, Zeri going to be locked in. Zeri Lulu, absolutely gorgeous. That feels like they just moved their rook into like the most unseen place, and that's checkmate. It wasn't actually that unseen. It was kind of walked into, and why not just lock the Lulu instead? Milio, a consideration here is Duro thinking about the Thresh.
Yeah, I kind of hate Genji's position.
I liked it until these last two, where it's like they moved to the edge of the cliff and they were teetering, and then they just said, we're going to send it, and launched themselves off.
I will say, if Ona falls behind, this comp from T1 might get a lot harder to play. There's a lot of tools, you know, with the Thresh and the Hui and the Lee Sin that can disengage. So I do feel like by not going to engage support, they lack that to some degree, but the thing they've gained in return is a lot of scaling, a lot of team fight cleanup with the Zeri Lulu. And Genji have Udyr. You know, I just think it's going to be a struggle because when the fights start, the team fight from T1 is just so much better. And Genji, it's not like they have a composition that like rolls early. So I think they're weaker in team fights. I think they don't necessarily hard win lanes. I think Genji, you know, it's not that the draft isn't playable, but I'm favoring T1 right now with what they have quite heavily.
Yep.
But it really comes down to, I think, Ona and Faker, the mid-jungle. If things go wrong there and your front line isn't able to like charge forwards, I think the game becomes infinitely harder.
And we have to remember that this game is very important for both of these teams, but for T1 especially, they can be first place in their group with a victory. There were tiebreakers spoken about before. I had my brain repaired. Tiebreakers are actually impossible now. It is either you're first or you're not. And so let's see whether Genji can make this composition that we don't really enjoy that much work, or whether it's going to be T1 with this Galio Rumble that works out for them. Time to jump up to the rift for Game 3. All right. A little bit of a shout out to the current team that he's playing on there with the Samsung Galaxy Thresh, as well as a shout out to the man who's working for the enemy in Mata, who did get that skin in 2014. Very cool stuff there from Duro. A lot of layers to the shout out.
We'll see what Genji's strategy is level 1. Pushing in pretty aggressively for vision here. You know, Udyr can do fine in swaps. And if they have some game plan based around that, maybe they can find a way to navigate this, but it looks like it's just establishing vision for now.
Yep. And it looks like that swap is going to come on through. You can see Carrier already moving towards the top side. Smash will be following after that recall does come through. And so a fair bit of information, but it looks like the Rumble will be spotted heading down towards that bottom side. And right now, Ruler and Duro, you can see they're hedging a little bit before they move most likely towards the top side, but right now they are moving bot lane. Ward is pinged, but I don't know whether was he actually out of vision? I think he might have been. As Canyon moves on over here, Ona will be able to secure his popcorn chickens. Couple of them taken there from Canyon as level 2 is gained.
Canyon smited and Ona got it. That's so bad.
Yeah.
That's such a bad start.
Oof.
I mean, in fairness, I feel like in this game, you kind of had to go for something a little bit zany, based on my opinions on the draft.
Yeah.
But that couldn't have backfired more for Canyon. He will be behind. Ona's going to get a bit of an advantage at the start. It is lane swap situation. Not very fun playing Udyr into double range champions, but at least you know the dive isn't that strong from like a Zeri, Lulu, even a Wukong as well. It's actually very low dive threat on an Udyr, so I think Keen is kind of okay.
Well, Hook is going to connect max range there, and the playback gets a flash out from Doran.
Yeah,
Those Flame Chompers, great position.
It's one of those situations where you're trying to be in range with experience, but if you're in range to be hooked, you're just too far up. That really shouldn't be happening from Doran. Fortunately, Canyon's on the top side and is behind a bit.
Fear, man.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Exceptionally played. As, oh dear, Canyon's woes continue here. As Tempest going to come out there, not able to cripple Carrier. As Keen's going to move on over to defend his Lee Sin. He's just going to die. All right, Smite comes down as Carrier could be in trouble. Canyon gonna have to flash away as Carrier flashes to get the kill. He should be going down for it, but Keen might be sacrificing his life. Ghost not enough, and that's a kill to Smash. Absolute disaster for GENG.
I think T1 pretty okay with the situation. You know, Doran burns his flash. He's like, oh no, what if I get dove? Don't worry, Carrier is solo killing the enemy jungler. Killing.
And Ruler is going to be able to grab a kill himself. Duro somehow surviving the turret there, very nicely done. Misses a cannon, but I guess the -1s feel a little bit more muted.
Yeah, so just as everything is going right for T1, GENG get an answer back. Doran, just, there's no other way to spin it. You shouldn't be dying in this manner. You're just too far up when you're outside the tower. Carrier just finds Canyon. Remember, Canyon's behind because of that invade.
They're even on levels, right? Like,
yeah.
there's no respect here at all.
And Canyon's like, I just need to finish the camp. I just need to finish the camp. I just need to finish the camp. Let me finish the... And he's dead.
Yeah.
Great flash at the end there from Carrier to finish him off. He does go down, but then he feeds a kill to Smash. And now they're looking for the dive. This is 4 people. This is going to happen.
Yeah, Keen not feeling super good as the extended beam comes on through. It takes a little while there as Carrier tanks the turret really nicely. And T1 just execute the Udyr.
Guys, Canyon is getting these Raptors, okay?
He is.
This is his focus in this game. He's getting the Raptors, yeah. But a great roam from Faker there. The power of the Galio, no surprise to see Faker making good use of it, but you push a wave in, find an angle, move there. And what is typically a rough dive, having like Lulu, Zeri, Wukong, becomes so easy with a Galio.
Well, let's have a look at it one more time, checking out this play from Ruler and Duro.
I mean, this is kind of twofold, because on the one hand, credit to Duro, some fantastic hooks, but you just shouldn't even be in range if you're Doran. Like, allowing this to happen, and I know why he's like trying to get in the XP range, but it just backfires so massively. And after the first time he lost his flash, you can't let it happen again.
Yeah.
Here, just a full channel taunt. Carrier has aggro, beautifully played, with the shield as well, can tank a few hits.
Well, now we've got Smash and Carrier down towards the bottom side, landing against Duro and Ruler. Fair bit of movement speed between the two of these, with the Lulu available. So
Kills already on the Zeri. This is not ideal. Not ideal.
Pesky caster minion. It is. I don't know whether Wolf would have certified it just yet. He is at home watching along right now, so he could probably let you know in the chat whether he has certified it.
There's still time. There's still time.
Yep. We'll need the paperwork in the mail if we are going to see as Chovy does have the Spiraling Despair now. And I just want to see what happens here towards this bottom side. It's not doomed just yet, but it's looking real close. As now Chovy does throw out that ultimate button. Justice Punch gets Faker out of there, but he's going to have to go back home. Yeah. Teleport still with half of a cooldown.
Didn't even pop the taunt there for Faker, which has that damage reduction. I think it kind of shows that you can definitely have pressure on Galio. So hard to solo kill him.
Yeah.
So bulky. But Chovy does a good job of forcing him out of lane. Buy some time, and ultimately it's not so much about, hey, I have prio, I can move. It's honestly more so about Galio can't move. And Canyon now looking, does get a grub.
Yeah.
Will force Owner away a bit, but Faker coming back, Chovy lowish on mana. I don't think he can really stick around here. One grub, he's got to take it and be happy.
Yep, bit of a speed up there as well as Canyon. Oh, just gets in there once again. Owner is going to smite it away. That's with Resonating Strike as well, as now Doran's coming down, and Canyon, I don't know whether he's getting out of this one, and by I don't know, I mean he's definitely not getting out of this one. That is a kill going over to Faker with those Winds of War.
You know, considering how clean the last Lee Sin game was from Canyon, this one has been so rough. He used his smite there as well.
Yeah.
Resonating Strike, still gets out smited by Owner, lost that camp early, now 0, 2, and 1.
And the only good news is the fact that they at least get one of those grubs, so at least the feats aren't going to be there to worry about. But already, the amount of kills, that threshold is being crossed for T1, so one of those feats of strength already there.
And you know, I was concerned about if Owner falls behind, when he's the one who needs to be leading the charge, Wukong can feel very underwhelming. He's having a great game. He's in a really good position. And I feel like T1, they're looking fantastic already in this game. 4-2 in the kill score, only about a 700 gold lead, but this is the start you want.
Absolutely. And I don't know, I just don't know what GENG's composition, outside of like Jinx gets excited, kills everyone, like that is obviously a thing that you can do, is we're going to see this once again. Owner's smites have been ice cold.
I honestly think just in general, Owner's form has been so fantastic in the LCK Cup. They're clean with the smites as well, which is funny, especially considering... Oh, seeing Owner on a flank here.
Yeah, Chovy does get a bit of a fear, but doesn't want to get taunted. Canyon blocked there by the Warrior Trickster as Carrier getting taken down low, but Smash throws down the ulti. Duro in so much trouble, and Ruler throwing what autos he can, dodging a lot of these burst fights with the flash forward. The barrier, the hook goes wide, and down goes the Jinx, and there's no chance. That's the double, and Smash, oh man, if he wasn't certified before, he is now.
Yeah, I mean, so strong now with those extra 2 kills. 4-0. Zeri and just GENG not respecting the level 6 from Zeri. We've had so much Zeri Lulu in the LCK, and one of the big things that's always been true is the level 6 all-in spike is insane. You can see the Zeri Lulu sitting back, not doing much, being pressured. You hit that level 6 and it's a game changer, and GENGs don't respect it. And especially considering you have a Thresh, you can just farm at a distance and have the Thresh play Lantern. But overzealous, overconfident, and they pay for it dearly.
Yeah, we're going to have a look at this one more time, and look at that Lantern placement as well. I mean, Duro hits the hook and they go in, and then Smash is just in melee range, able to get so much value.
Yeah, the level up comes through. Great flash in there from Carry, gets extra damage. Good dodge there from Smash. Dodged both those critical skill shots. He was so low.
And he was out of vision as well, but they swept it at exactly the right time. Carrier gives him just the information.
Whew. And, you know, we came out of draft favoring one side. We'll be honest, you know, it looked good, 4T1, but when you got a 4-0 Zeri, there's not a draft in the world that looks bad with a 4-0 Zeri.
And it already looked good.
It already looked good. Smash in a fantastic position to carry this game now. GENG fishing for something here. They do have Canyon with kick available. And bear in mind, no flashes for T1.
And he has snuck into this brush. We'll see how sneaky he's been as Owner is going to come on over. It's likely a 3v3.
I think you always have to be very cautious into it.
Oh, there's a kick! There's the kick flash! The box goes down as Smash once again with the ulti. See whether the Gatling gun's enough, and it absolutely is. Shutdown goes to the Jinx. And did Carrier actually ult himself because he wasn't quite in time or something like that? Did that just happen? Did I witness that? I don't know.
Didn't quite see, but 613 gold for Ruler there, which does pretty drastically close the gap. Those are the sort of plays you have to make. Canyon finds an angle. And the thing is, you normally play pretty safe against Thresh in general because he has the Lantern for the extra like setup for the jungler. But Owner was bot side, and so I think T1 had this perceived view of safety, which I get. You're 4-0. You're playing Zeri Lulu, you have your Wukong nearby. So it was just a fantastic angle from GENG to slip in and kind of go with that overconfidence. I feel like it's been back and forth with a little bit of overconfidence in these bot lanes that have been...
And Carrier had to ult himself because he was trying to stop Canyon from being able to get the combo. Oh, trying to just didn't stop the kick. Yeah, that was why he did it. That's what memory is telling me anyway.
Canyon's still clean with the kicks. Smites haven't been on point, but the kicks still are.
Yep, see whether he can continue to redeem himself, because I think he's going to need a little bit more work done after what had happened in the early game. Some plates being stolen away here by Smash and Carrier.
Yeah, they can't really damage Keen, but I mean, at least Keen can stand in front of the tower when Smash Qs and force him to hit him. But yeah, not really making much headway onto him specifically. We got the Yuntal from Ruler, which has been buffed in this patch, so a lot of attack speed, a lot of AD, a lot of crit. An item has all 3, which is not really a thing anymore since they changed them.
Yep, Chovy actually coming towards the top side just to make sure that they defend.
Yeah, and GENG getting some plates here, so bringing it back a little bit. We'll see the kick coming out here. And yeah, it's a beautiful waterfall kick. I think he just ulted to try
so close to the interruption, actually, I think.
Yeah.
But of course, Flash makes it so hard.
Yeah, it's difficult. The thing is, the extra health for Smash probably wouldn't have made much of a difference, although obviously ideally ult Smash.
No, it's the right call for Carrier. He just almost stopped Smash from being kicked out.
Yeah, so fortunate. Do you see a lot of trading of plates here? Thoran does have, he doesn't have Equalizer, he used it just before, so this next wave is potentially going to set up a kill, actually. Then they can go for dive if Thoran sticks around.
Well, Canyon going to move on down here. Does have that kick back up. That gets the mini stun. That is going to be Flame Chompers, and my goodness, that is a very dead Rumble. Canyon almost dies, but doesn't quite. And so more plates, and actually second turret going to be going on over here as T1. They do manage to get the feats of strength this game. They're not that far ahead in the gold. GENG kind of holding onto it as, oh god, okay.
He's well tank out if he can, if he's playing that safe. I will say, Chovy had a lot of pressure there on Faker. You can see Faker trying to move down, got hit by the ult from Chovy. If Galio was able to get in range and ult, game changer.
Yeah.
So good moves from Chovy there to prevent that from happening. And also having the wave prior in the first place. But you can see Faker actually like runs down immediately on the minimap and gets stopped. The execution there from GENG pretty flawless, not much Doran can do, but the backup didn't come in, and the dive ends up being successful.
Well, the thing that is making me pretty excited about the game state right now is that it just really feels like Smash versus Ruler. It's like the old guard versus the new. Can Ruler do what he's done many years in a row prior to this, which is just hard carry? His Jinx, certainly something that he's been able to do on in the past, but Smash has got Zeri. Like, as far as main characters are concerned, she is the champion, as heal actually going to come out from Carry in response to the hook. Good one there from Duro.
I think my big concern for GENG, because, you know, Fed Jinx can do great things, and the gold is pretty even between these AD carries. But the problem is, you know, Jinx gets so much benefit from that first initial kill.
Yeah.
And yes, you can have Canyon kick someone in, but it's tricky to lead a fight with that because there's so much to interrupt you. Like you're playing into Wukong, Galio, Lulu. We've seen Canyon get great kicks. You know, we saw that one that was in the Mad movie, but that was ultimately him getting a kick later in the fight. Getting that first initial kill and setting up Ruler, going to be a tough task, I feel.
Doran's taking damage once again. Owner is just better at smiting as the playback is really good. Flash out just to make sure that Smash doesn't get the value. Immediate cleanse. And Heroic Entrance was immediately also interrupted as Keen is able to press E and boop, and that does it. So all of the ultis now on cooldown. GENG with a slight advantage. Super Mega Death Rocket is going to be there.
But I will say, 2 flashes burn from T1. They're more than happy about that.
Yeah.
I think also great flashes to have. Ideally, you'd get Ruler's flash, don't get me wrong. He is playing very aggressive there, punishing Smash. Ideally, getting Ruler's flash is the best thing, but the easiest target to pick is Thresh, being that he's so immobile. And Canyon not having flash means he's going to have such a hard time finding these kicks. So in terms of value, T1 definitely getting a lot out of that play, but still having to respect Ruler on this Jinx, especially the range advantage. This is the thing is, once T1 closed the distance, that range advantage is for nothing. That's why having the engage I felt was really important. But if you don't have those tools, you know, if Owner's not in a position to get on top of Ruler, he can just sit back and free fire, and so can Chovy.
Yeah. It's really interesting, actually. I really like this sort of dichotomy that we're seeing with the new look T1 with now Smash on the roster, because normally T1 would be the team playing Jinx. They were trying to do this in the Zeri meta that we were stuck in for so long, right? It was the pick Jinx into the Zeri, outrange her, and be that hyper carry with Gumayusi on the lineup. And now Smash, a little bit better at the Zeri side of things, and Ruler is the guy that wants to be playing the Jinx in this matchup. Yeah, kind of interesting how the shoe is on the other foot.
Does remind me a lot of his JDG times, that MSI when he was on Jinx, taking over. We know he can do it. It's just, can he do it against this? Gold lead is still, it's small. It's definitely within range. Feats aren't going to make that much of a difference.
Canyon going in onto Owner. They do manage to get the Cyclone as, oh, Carrier could be in trouble. King comes over, yeah, he's just dead. No Wild Growth is going to help him there, and it's actually Chovy that gets the kill. Ruler getting excited, Zap going wide, and GENG with control of the fight for now. Oh, another hook connecting! Duro, main character in this one, and there's the Spiraling Despair. It's another kill for Smash as the Udyr goes down, and Canyon, I think he'll win the Smite fight on this one, as he's the only one there.
I feel like we've had so long of Thresh just kind of being that Lantern bot. We had the W Max Thresh, which was a big thing for a while. Last time we really saw him in the meta. Duro is making the claim for the Q Max value, getting the hooks consistently. It's what you love to see, but I feel like it just hasn't been a thing for such a long time. It's so difficult to find picks on the back of Thresh because, you know, his Q is such a long wind-up, it's quite telegraphed. He's making it work.
He really is. This is a gorgeous play. I think the last time we saw Thresh be like so incredibly pivotal was Carrier. After that Q buff came in and Thresh for like a patch or two was just broken, Carrier really showed us that. So we're going to go back into live here as another hook is going to connect. That's another kill for Ruler. And, oh man, Duro, I think he's feeling better.
He's feeling better. He's redeeming himself for that Elise game, which is a little bit rough game one, but he's just carrying right now, getting so much value.
Whew. That's clean. All right, they're going to now try and take down this outer turret in the mid lane, and I don't think anyone's going to be able to stop them. Let's have a look at this replay once again. Keep your eyes on Duro.
I mean, it's just phenomenal. Does end up messing up his play a little bit at the end, but still finds the kill, gets the flash from Carrier.
And it's this next one that you got to look out for.
Thorin has just been a hook magnet this game.
And I mean, they were honestly, it was like fish in a barrel, but still really nicely played. And who really, he also had a lantern there for Keen, I want everyone to know. But Keen was a bit dead.
Oh, the
and
trap
Flame Chomp is
setting it up.
Yeah. And so we gave Duro a bit of credit as we came out of the replay, but great setup there from Ruler. And playing Galio into Jinx is a bit frustrating given the arm time and the fact that Justice Punch does require you to go backwards for a bit.
Considering how doomed this game was looking.
In the draft?
In the draft, in the first 10 minutes. GENG are really bouncing back and making this competitive.
Yeah. And it's so interesting, right? Because the same reasons that we're saying that T1 were in such a phenomenal position, and it's those 5 kills that are on the Zeri, that exact same point is now mirrored on the other side because Ruler, he carries these.
Yep. Chovy also over 1,000 gold up over Faker on this way. They can keep those carries safe. It is a very winnable game for GENG. IE picked up already for Ruler.
Oh, Faker could be in a little bit of trouble here as he is snared momentarily, but not gone.
Not the easiest pick target.
Yeah, there's some durability.
But you can see the pressure that GENG has over the map. You can see them really setting up the vision around where Atakan is going to spawn on the top side, which is, oh, it's Voracious. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's surprising. I was expecting Ruinous. Not to be the case this time. As Ruler going to be able to grab that red buff, gives the other half of it over to Canyon.
And now
so close to it being going over to everyone, but not quite.
I think the thing is, we're looking at Owen on this Wukong. We're looking at like angles he can get into approach, and I think having vision is going to be really important. If you're just running into areas where GENG has all the vision, they see you coming, Thresh can do such a good job of disengaging the Wukong.
Yeah, I mean, play is probably the thing we're looking out for, but even the box will make Zeri's life difficult as you're just trying to run amok in a team fight. We don't really talk about the box being valuable, but I actually think in that instance it does work.
You ideally want it to be a flank because you don't want Thresh to be able to just lantern them backwards. If Chovy clicks all his buttons, and he has a lot of buttons on this champion, in one direction, you're just not going to be able to make your way in. So as T1 have started to fall a bit behind, they need to get a bit creative with how they're approaching fights to favor them. It is a Mountain Soul, that added durability, definitely a lot of value for these hyper carries if they can get it.
And Ruler has kind of hit the point where he's just really happy, right? He's got the IE and the Untiles completed.
Good for him.
And it's likely to be a rapid-fire cannon coming in next. Probably wants to get some armor penetration at some point, but maybe not, given the enemy composition that he's up against. No real true tank to worry about.
Yeah, you definitely want it eventually, but you're not nearly as much of a rush as we're in the last game. Although
and in the last game, he built 3 items that weren't those anyway.
Yeah, he took his time. Oh, Ruler goes for a control ward, but Chompers first. And doesn't die.
Beautiful. You love to see it. Ooh, Duro information over to Owner there as he sweeps him out, but the Flaming Monkey not going to be doing anything just yet. It's Chovy doing what he likes the most, which is clearing out minions, successfully taking cannons. Ruler does the same thing. Jonah Strong and everyone watching from home very happy with the satisfaction level of cannons being taken in the last few seconds.
GENG just being very rigorous with this vision, clearing it out, using the Chompers defensively. Having the Thresh there as well makes it so hard, especially since, you know, game 1, they had the Vi, right? T1, you have so much CC you can layer, you have the Poppy as well. There's not actually that much to hold people on GENG in place that they can't, like, grab a lantern in between.
Yeah.
Like, if Owner ults, you need someone immediately there to CC them after.
No, you need someone immediately there to pile control wards on it.
That also works. But, like, you know, if Galio ults on you, he's not going to come down for a while. Oh, Owner in trouble.
Oh, that Warrior Trickster just paid for itself in gold. As Rift Herald goes down, there's the flash hook. Not going to connect, but Doran had to flash to get out of the way of it. Spiraling Despair now on cooldown. Not doing a massive amount of damage as Shelly, I don't think she's going to survive for the charge. Never mind. Going to successfully manage to get a bunch of damage onto that inner turret. Is now Mountain Soul. We haven't even spoken about this, but I feel like Mountain Soul is absurd for both of these teams.
Yeah, really is. A lot of tanks get, well, tanks on the side of GENG get a lot of value. With the extra durability, if GENG get it and Chovy and Ruler are just that much harder to kill, it's going to be painful. Not to mention if Faker gets it, and then he has that extra shield, and he's that big front line that they need. As Keen just going to walk in here. He can do that. He is a Udyr.
See how he's going to go as Warrior Trickster. Does mean that it's just the clone as every hook is scary. But Duro hasn't been landing very many of them recently.
Just fishing, you know, seeing what I can find.
Non-committal CC is the aim of the game.
I also think Rula able to just position so aggressively up in the lane, knowing you have the Thresh to back you up. Real game changer here.
And also, like, Rula was at his peak when he was playing in Tahm Kench Thresh metas, right? And so I feel like he's going back to the old times where he was the true main character. And that is certainly a good sign for GENG fans. On the other side, T1 keeping it so incredibly close. Like, this is anyone's game right now. Otacon has been up and available for a very long time. And we're going to have him and Baron on the map together. It's going to make things pretty spicy towards that top side, as we can see. Vision always being traded between the two of them.
Chovey's just been throwing so many of that long-range projectile into these brushes and just kind of...
Don't do a Canyon. Oh, he gets the smite.
Redemption.
All right. Post 20 minutes, that's when the smites are going to start landing.
That's when they matter anyway.
Honestly, it is.
Early game smites, who cares, you know? Oh, you got my Raptors? I'm taking your Baron.
Uh-huh. Well, Chovy also able to collect that blue buff as well. That feels pretty nice. And Rula. Now with, it was actually Runan's Hurricane that he picked up as well, so we're going to be doing a whole bunch more AoE. Thought it might be going towards the Rapid Fire just for a little bit more safe poke damage.
I think the thing with the Rapid Fire is you already have so much range of the T1 composition. And if you think of how T1 are going to be approaching, everyone is kind of short ranged and kind of going to be running at you, so...
You'll probably get a bit of value.
Good amount of value there, yeah. Same items across both AD carries. You know, Smash is a tiny, tiny advantage from the feature strength boots.
Yep.
And that's all we're really looking at. But damage galore for both of these. And especially when you compare, like, you know, Faker's just recalled and only got his second item. Owner's work on his second item. Like, these 80 carries are all monster fed. And, you know, we normally see that in pro play where you funnel resources to them. But even with that in context, like, Rula has 40 more CS than Chovy. Yeah. By the way. Chovy's on 10 CS per minute. Chovy is Chovying. Rula is just...
Ruler is rulering.
He is rulering. That's the top of the kills he has as well.
There are a lot of objectives here in this top side of the map. I feel like this is where the game is going to be changed. As Canyon dancing around the river. And Keen going to get melted here momentarily as GENG have started this one up. Oh, I'm nervous. I'm anxious. But let's see what T1's going to be able to do about it. Faker, heroic entrance up and available as they back away from the Otacon. And just look to lock this one down. Cyclone not getting the most value ever as they dive on top of Rula, smashing that backline. Rula survives for a while. Smash as well is just diving on top of Chovy. Takes down both of the carries. And Keen gets one, but it is all over for this fight. T1 matters into their own hands, and Smash comes in clutch.
Owner does his job perfectly. We need to engage, we need to get on the back line. He finds an angle and Smash is there for the follow-up. Using Zeri perfectly, both carries go down, team fight's over, and in a blink of an eye, GENG crumbles. Owner just, it's a good flash from Rula. He avoids the initial CC, but Juro's on top of him, the lantern has little value. And Smash is there to follow up. Keria sends him with the wild growth, says, go with my blessings.
Oh, yeah.
And he does.
Oh, man. T1 finding exactly the window they're looking for. And I actually didn't think that the Cyclone was going to be what they required, right? You saw that flash come out as Rula avoids a lot of the CC, but Smash knew exactly who he needed to kill. And he's like, this is good, keep going. Takes down both of the damage dealers, and then the fight is just over.
Interestingly enough, even though the initial ult... That's exactly what.
You can see the stress relief there for Coma.
Even though the initial knockup didn't hit Rula, Owner's initial ult, CC, Duro, and Canyon, and those are the ones there to disengage him, and it meant he got that follow-up. But I just love the confidence. You know, I said my concern for T1 was, you know, are you going to regret not having engaged support? Is Owner going to be enough? The answer is yes. He absolutely is.
And you pseudo do have an engaged support, I guess, as Canyon was fishing for an opportunity there as another Cyclone comes down. Remember, Otacon buff means that they're just going to be sent home. Not too much more to worry about. Oh my goodness, they're kind of in the blender though. As one of them does go home, I'm pretty sure, no, never mind. No Otacon buffs actually going off, and that is just a kill onto Keen.
The redemption value oh, he's looking.
Yeah, Faker manages to get the Justice Punch onto Chovy, who takes the Lantern to get himself to relative safety. Zap connects on to Smash, as Canyon has to flash to get out of this equalizer that is shredding them. Doran just wanting to put them in the barbecue, and they're diving underneath the inner. They're all going to be taking a swift trip home, but it's a double for the Zeri. And so it's already kind of doomed. They managed to get Ruler as well, and that is precisely what they were looking for.
Yeah, now they got time on the map. Long spawn timers for Canyon and Ruler. They've got the Mountain Dragon to pick up. They have options.
All right, Faker just, I think, wanting to get a bit of value here, but let's have a look at this replay one more time.
Yeah, so Canyon goes in, doesn't immediately get out again. It's some good CC in return, and Chovy does so much damage, but the redemption value here, actually massive for T1. They would have lost Owner and Kerry, I think, if they had come through. Maybe even Smash as well. But here, this was so close to be even worse because we get this initial play coming in. But look at Doran. So Doran ends up ulting. And look, he's about to flash. He's about to flash. Feared. So tragic. He was going to melt both Chovy and Canyon there. And it still goes well. But that fear from Chovy, I think it could have been game over if that fear had not come through.
I feel like that, that managed to get like a couple of... 200 gold pickups, as they do send a few of the T1 members home. Still not great news
don't get me wrong,
but it's a bit there.
The game is not in a great spot for GENG, but I think they actually would have ended if that fear had not stopped Doran from just toasting them all. Doran hasn't had the best game. It's been a bit rough. Got put behind, but his equalizer in the last the fight we just saw and the fight around Otacon had a lot of value. So really coming back strong. And now, we saw these 80 carries at item parity for such a long time. There's now a 3,000 gold lead for Smash. He's got a Bloodthirster completed where Ruler only has components and he has a QSS on top of that.
That's pretty ridiculous. Ruler now wanting to complete said Bloodthirster, but he's still a ways away from that one.
It's absurd when you look at everyone else and like people have like 3 items at best. Everyone else, and he's on 4 pushing 5.
And he's got all of the money on the Rift. As we can see here, 5,000 ahead of the nearest on his team. And that's exactly where you want that money to be if you are a T1 fan. GENG still trying to hold on as best they can, but I just feel like the Udyr is kind of past his use-by date as far as being that front line. He kind of melts if Smash even pays any attention to it. And there's the equalizer just to bully them away from this inner turret. Hook connects onto Faker, but Faker able to tank for quite some time. With that movement speed as well, the fear even gets him out of dodge. Oh dear. Still, GENG hold on to their inner turret for the moment, as this Warrior Trickster not going to be anything they're going to be too worried about. And next thing to be up and available is looking like the Baron in 2 minutes' time. And so can GENG get their ducks in a row? That's the question. Owner goes in, Owner goes out. And they're able to just have a look as another hook going to connect. That is one of the longest I've seen in quite some time. Dura not opting to go in. Canyon was thinking about kicking back Faker into the team, but we know that he is relatively tanky here as Smash, like we were talking about, if he does get some free time with Keen, will do some pretty legitimate damage to him.
It's crazy just the ebbs and flows we've seen in this game. We had so long where GENG just had complete pressure, T1 were always hesitant to approach one big fight, and now it's just complete reverse where GENG are just kind of fishing for options. I will say, at least T1 is still miles away from the Soul, so that's not a concern right now.
Yep.
But the problem I have with GENG's composition is GENG want T1 to come into them and then play defensively, peel back, Ruler gets space, Ruler does damage, gets the resets. But when T1 are the ones who control the space, GENG have to push forwards and enter. When this Baron starts, GENG have to approach, and it can make it really dangerous if T1 have vision, because you're scared of Wukong flanks, you're scared of Galio flanks, Rumble flanks, Zeri flanks, you know? Yeah. So it makes it very difficult. So I think T1, no time pressure on them. They just need to establish vision around the Baron and force GENG to come into them. But they're going for a cheeky play here. GENG won't expect them to be on this side of the map. They don't find Keen, though. And in fairness, you know, they were looking for a cheeky pick, but this now means GENG's actually done a good job of pushing the vision back a little bit. You can see this line they're kind of forming around their red buff. They're still hesitant about pushing deeper, but T1 basically just don't have vision on that side of the map.
And Chovy is 3 items in, but you can see on this way, just trying to clear out waves around this map. And it is feeling like things are kind of evening out, but I'm just so worried, right? I feel like the team fight that T1 managed to find around that Otacon that was so incredibly game-defining, it feels like there's not enough tools for GENG to stop that from happening again. unless Duro finds an exceptional flay out of like some dance through a wall that Smash is able to accomplish. But that is so difficult to replicate.
It's like you're hoping for like a miracle kick from Canyon, but land the Sonic Wave and Faker just stands on top of Carrier, and there's just nothing you can do. They find a hook on Ona. Ona can disengage, just lose some health, but he's a jungle, he'll just sustain it back up. It feels very hard to find the angle.
Yeah, it feels like GENG needs to start the fight with an advantage. They need to use their range advantage to poke down T1 a little bit.
It's kind of like they want to walk up.
Oh, I knew he was coming as Ona gets in there with the Cyclone right on top of Chovy as he takes the Lantern out. Keen tanking exactly like he wants to as he dives into the backline. Smash trying to replicate the play once again, and Chovy is so close to dead. Ruler is surviving this time, but Smash is getting underneath the enemy turret. They've used a bunch of cooldowns, and somehow Keen is still alive as he's running really quickly around this one. But it looks like T1 should be able to get back towards this dragon as it is spawning to try and lock that one down.
GENG pretty happy with that though. A lot of tools in from T1. All summoners from T1's bot lane. They survive. This is kind of what they wanted. They push up, T1 trying to engage. They managed to mitigate it, and now you're lacking those engage tools that you need. So GENG finally back a little bit in the driver's seat. They're going to start at the Baron. They want to make something happen.
Well, they do have some tools. Smash without the ultimate for now, as Chovy does have that health bar back, but taking damage from Baron can be dangerous here, as Canyon as well, struggling to tank it effectively. Duro finds his way back in. Speaking of in, Ona gets on forward. Lantern Ride going to be taken out there from Canyon, who is now looking a bit worse for wear. And the Baron loses interest in the fight.
It's fine for T1, just buy time. Wait for those tools to be available again. Cyclone's coming up soon, the Zerial's coming up soon. You're not forced to fight then, and Ona did a great job of just forcing them away, not committing too much. It's an excellent decision, and now Smash can just go solo this Mountain Dragon. Looked a little bit shaky for a second, but they regain form pretty quickly.
Yep. Ruler going to be picking up the wave in mid, and then moving back towards the fray. As, Smash securing Soul Point here for T1. Really starts putting pressure on GENG as well, but I don't know. I feel like the game-deciding fight will happen before the next 5 minutes. It feels like it's due, you know? And you're the man who knows about things being due. As the Humble Life Esports win in the LCK Summer Finals last year would dictate to us. So do you feel like it's due? Like, when's the game-deciding fight, in your opinion? Like, when's it going to be? Prediction.
I feel like it's coming soon. If it's not around this Baron soon, it's going to be when that dragon spawns, because GENG are not going to let them get Soul, and they'll have to commit heavily enough that it's going to be a big fight. So I think at the latest, it's in 4 minutes.
Oh, man. That's so many people looking at this young player. Smash, so many eyes glued to him. Also, a lot looking at Ruler as well, as Ona, he's the one you really should be looking at, because he'll be starting any fight that T1's going to win. Flame Trump is going down, and everything is used. Like, they're focusing so hard on this Wukong to make sure that he doesn't ruin their day.
Yeah, so cautious about it. I mean, that's one thing, is they know he is going to be the one diving in, so they can kind of just respect him and they're fine, but he's just playing with reckless abandon, and it's working.
Yeah, although I thought it was Smash who did the reckless abandonment.
Yeah, he did, but it was his choice. He wanted to go back to Europe, okay?
Yeah, fair. All right. Ooh, they're closing in. Doran, potentially out of position.
Oh, Chovy! He's got a flash!
Yeah, Ona is going to get on top of him. The Lantern, not even necessary, though, as the Flame Chompers were enough.
Well, the fear value is so big. Chovy's been so crisp with those.
I mean, I'm struggling to breathe enough in these moments. Baron's still there, still going to be this key objective. And even though it's 5,000 gold, it just feels like it's dead even.
Yeah. And remember, T1 fighting for first in their group if they can win this final game. That's what they need.
Yeah.
There are stakes here. But also just T1 taking down GENG, always something they're looking to do.
Well, only going to go in once again, but out. Not going to overly commit. Remember, does have the GA as well. It's a lot of lives.
It's getting to that point of the game where the carries are like full build.
Look at Ruler's opinion as well in comparison to Smash's. Smash is like, I just need to be alive and do damage. Builds a GA. And Ruler's like,
I need more damage.
I'm killing all of them.
Yeah.
And we're doing it quickly.
I think it's a thing where, like, when everyone else... I mean, you look at Doran. Doran has 2 items and some bonus stuff. And
are we waiting for Lord Doms? Is it coming?
Should be coming soon. But, like, if you get caught and hit, like, by a couple of autos by either of these 80 carries...
Oh, there it is.
It is brutal. And now with this LDR, Owner, you know, he needs the disruption to get value. He's not going to be that tanky against the damage from this Jinx. Even things like the Galio are going to feel squishy. Oh, double Zhonya's actually just picked up for T1. So they have the stasis on those frontliners. They have the GA on, you know, both the Wukong and the AD carry.
I'm so worried for GENG. I just feel like Ruler is way too squishy, and there are so many resets and extra lives for T1,
and also
that there are too many threats to look out for.
The Rabadon's not quite finished for Chovy, and the fact we have, it's like, if you look at the gold difference, it's not that big, but it's about like the difference between having those extra Zhonyas, those GAs, all these extra things. Like the GA in particular on Ona is the advantage they have over Canyon.
Yeah.
And it just makes it so much harder. You can see T1 playing aggressive, knowing this Dragon's in a minute 30.
Yeah, as Kane doing the walk relatively quickly maneuver.
It's a good strategy.
Yeah,
but not sure
pick up the lantern here.
And now T1 are just complete control. They just keep running around and chasing down members of GENG who dare to step too far forwards.
And there's no more vision left.
Yeah.
Especially here on this bottom side, which is the problem, right? Like in a minute's time, T1 can get a permanent buff. And GENG, I don't think they can afford to give that one up, because already I feel like T1 are stacking the deck in their favor with the utility items that they've been able to purchase. Whew. Okay, still not over till it's over. And Canyon hitting level 16 now. We've almost got a death cap done for Chovy. He'll be doing some big old damage.
It's so rough because you do not want to give over Soul, but you also don't want to fight when Chovy's so close to Rabadon's. You would love to be able to just buy a bit of time. In an ideal world, there's some scenario where Canyon gets a smite steal and gets a lantern out. That's like perfect for GENG, but it's wishful thinking.
Yeah.
T1 are not going to let them get away with that. They're going to force a fight around this objective, and GENG are trying to find a way in right now.
Owner is just trading Warrior Trickster for lots of buttons over and over again. This Wukong is so dangerous. As Chovy off to the side here, he's going to miss the fear onto Smash. And now Canyon has to kick him back, and there's the equalizer. Ruler now has to flash away as well as Owner is dashing forward. The extendo being so much damage onto Ruler, and he is out of the fight. The redemption helping the front line of GENG here. But 48 seconds until Chovy's back.
I feel like Smash is just ruthless. If he senses even a slight misposition, he is the player who will hunt for it, commit his flash to make it happen. He's bringing that challenge's aggression to the LCK, and he even catches Chovy off guard. Now, Doran looking.
Yeah, Canyon, he's going to have to flash away from that one. The flash taunt from Faker as Ruler is dead once again. And T1, they weren't going to wait for it. Keen is now a beautiful little snowman, but he's also heading to the death chamber. More kills piled onto Smash as T1 will march up the mid lane, and the game, ladies and gentlemen, is done.
It's been a close series, so hard fought, but T1 as a unit, you know, we questioned how will they look with Doran. We saw Smash come in, who's looked fantastic, but as a team, as a unit, they're just making
the equalizer once again is doing beautiful things here as the spiraling despair is more what Chovy is feeling and not what T1 are feeling as they take down the Nexus and they secure first place in the group. And this game against GENG that's going to feel fantastic. Another win as well for Smash. And this time, it was so much about him. That Zeri play, absolutely beautiful.
Just feels like, you know, at times we maybe seen them before against GENG where things start to go wrong, they start to crumble. It feels like that clutch factor is there. And, you know, T1 are no strangers to clutch factor. We've seen it many times before.
Yeah.
But it's not every game, and sometimes, you know, you're waiting for these big matches at Worlds, which obviously won them titles. Like, that's when you want the clutch factor. But in the early stages, in the group stage of the LCK Cup, and we're seeing it. We're seeing their ability to re-examine, to bounce back, to find these great angles. And it feels like as much as Smash has been such a highlight since he's came in, everyone on this roster has really looked like such a solid performer in this series. It looks like everyone has had their moment. And even players like Doran, who got set behind in multiple AD games, like he had so much value there. That equalizer at the end, killing Chovy, flashing in to find those kills.
Well, I want to...
great.
I feel like POM, that's up for debate. But as far as, like, for T1 especially, like, maybe even for the whole thing, but for player of the LCK Cup, I feel like Owner has just been... He's been so good, man.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I can 100% say that Owner has looked like... I'd say, okay, maybe Lucid is a strong argument, but I think probably Owner or Lucid, best jungler so far in the LCK Cup. I think I'm leaning Owner, to be honest. He's just been so on form,
just so consistent. Every single game, it feels like
And
if he finds the window, they're going to win.
My concerns with the draft this game was, okay, you're relying on Owner completely.
Yeah.
If he falls behind, if he can't find the engage, if the enemy team is peeling well, your comp might really struggle. And he just made it happen. Even when they fell behind, even when they started to lose out in the game, he finds the angle. And I think he's you know, we've seen that before in his Vi, but Vi a lot easier to pilot in that manner. But he just seems to be slam dunking on these picks, on these 80 bruises where he can find an angle into fights.
It's very impressive. This, not so impressive from the GENG as far as the start was concerned. Canyon, a bit of a whoopsie here. The splash from Carrier, very, very sexy. And even though he does eventually go down, a 2-for-1 trade, and the Lulu manages to execute the enemy jungler, that's crazy. And this is where it all started to go wrong, as the hook missing because of an incredible sweeper there from Carrier gives the information to Smash, who's then able to avoid it. Whew. Clean. Dura tried to get it back, and this game was so incredibly close.
Yeah, some great death sentences from Duro, and especially since he wasn't feeling too well today. I think he had a really good performance in the game. Really did a lot of work. So, fortunately, not enough. And this, I think, was the play of not just the game, but even the series. Owen finding this beautiful angle, Smash sliding in, the confidence, the trust in your jungler to make it happen, and then just sliding in, like, yeah, I can do it, I can clean up. Yeah, making it happen.
I mean, I want to go back as well. Like, this Lulu was so valuable for T1, and that could have been the R4 choice here for GENG.
Yeah, and that was
so many
there,
what-ifs.
though, where, you know, he dodges the fear from Chovy. Chovy being so crisp.
Yeah.
There's so many fights you saw her land, and able to dip away from it there. You can see here T1.
Yeah, you can see the concentration here from T1 as well, contemplating whether it's a dragon angle right now, as they're confirming no vision here for GENG. And then Doran finds the angle. Yep. Follow up, I'm going in with my flash, says Faker. And it is so clean. As Faker on a utility champion, and I just think that it's so incredibly good for T1. As soon as Faker can make a decision and make things happen, yeah, he does 11k damage. Who cares? He started so many of the game-winning fights here for T1, and even the one that, like, Smash, like, absolutely exploded in, right? Like, the engage from Ono was fantastic. I mean, Faker didn't do a whole lot in that one, but when he is able to make an impact, it's beautiful. And I just never want to see Udyr again. I'm sorry. As player of the match, obviously going to be Smash here, dying twice in the entire series. 13-0-4 on that Kaiser. It feels like such a long time ago that game happened, but he was, yeah, pretty impressive in that one too.
It really does, and it feels like he's thriving on these picks. It kind of feels akin to the way kind of Aiming played last year, where, you know, he's playing these things like the Kaiser, like the Zeri. You start a fight, and he is there. He's diving in, he's cleaning up, and he's just so reliable, it feels like. There's a lot of trust clearly given to him, but he's just making it work.
Yeah, and we get another conversation with him as well, which is fantastic. So let's throw it over to Smash, waiting alongside.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Dear for the LCK Cup POM interview translation, joined by Smash on the side of T1. So you're with your victory in the last group battle match. You have secured the first place spot of Group Baron. How do you feel? No, rather than the rankings, our opponent was GENG, so I just really thought to myself, I really want to win. That was my priority. But it's such an honor, and it makes me so happy that we're also able to secure first place. And you played against the super senior veteran ruler, so how did you feel going into this match? You know, normally I actually grew up learning a lot from ruler. And I've always thought to myself, you know, I really want to try playing against him one day. And I knew I was told that one day I will have my dream come true. And it's such a cool experience. I'm just so grateful for this experience. Game 3 against the enemy Jinx and Thresh, you played Zeri and Lulu. And from the start, Zeri took so many kills and ultimately carried the game. So did you expect this to happen? No, it wasn't really about expecting this to happen. I think my teammates, my bros actually fed me so well, and eventually the game flowed in a way where, oh wow, I started believing that this game is definitely winnable. And so it's like your entire team does have your back as you scale. Does this kind of support ever overwhelm you? Yeah, they do let me get all the kills, and they actually support me really well. I don't think it's much of an overwhelming experience. I think I do get really excited at the moment when I'm playing the game, and I just feel like I can carry the game. Any message to your supportive teammates then? No, bros. You guys all always help me out so that I can have a good time and I can play comfortably. So I'm just so thankful. Thank you. As we waited for the interview, you told me that your hands were shaky, but you seem so confident and you seem great. And now that you have locked in the first seed of play-ins, you'll have to prepare for a best of fives. So what will you focus on? For best of fives, I know that it's going to be fearless draft until the very last game. So I think we'll just have to be prepared, and we'll have to think about all the different comps that we have to come up with. So I think we'll just have to prepare, really focus on the draft. And that's the end of the interview with Smash, and back to the space. Thank you.